Metroid Fusion is not just the fourth entry in the critically acclaimed series, it's also one of the best action-adventure games for the Game Boy Advance. Super Metroid is often regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time, and is undoubtedly a landmark title in the history of video games. Super Metroid also sold an impressive 1.42 million copies on the Super Nintendo alone, so you'd think Nintendo would have wanted to follow up that success with a sequel, but Super Metroid came out in 1994. We wouldn't get a new Metroid game until November of 2002, over 8 years later. It's not like Nintendo didn't want to make a new Metroid game, but Mario creator Shigeru Miyamoto said that the company just couldn't come out with any concrete ideas. When they looked for a third party to develop a Metroid sequel, the company declined Nintendo's offer because they felt they couldn't even equal Super Metroid. It didn't help that the successor to the Super Nintendo was the Nintendo 64, and with fierce competition from the Sony PlayStation, this console generation was all about 3D gaming. Two-dimensional games quickly fell out of fashion, and many higher-ups in the gaming industry felt that 2D games could make their console look antiquated and old-fashioned. By that logic, Nintendo was totally okay with having Superman 64 on their system, but a new 2D Metroid game would make the Nintendo 64 look bad. So there were no Metroid games on the Nintendo 64, but finally, at the Space World Trade Show in August of 2000, Nintendo revealed footage of a new Metroid game for its next console, the GameCube. This short demo would go on to become Metroid Prime, but the 3D first-person style was a radical departure from the Metroid games of the past. Fans were excited that a new Metroid game was finally in development, but this announcement seemed like the end for the classic-style Metroid adventure. But that was not the case. In March of 2001, Nintendo confirmed it was developing a Metroid title for the Game Boy Advance. Rumors suggested it would be a port of Super Metroid, but Ken Lobb, Nintendo's director of game development, confirmed it was an all-new adventure. Returning to direct the new game was none other than Yoshio Sakamoto, a character designer from the original NES Metroid, and the director of Super Metroid. Many other members of the Super Metroid team also returned, including Katsuya Yamano, who would serve as lead programmer for Fusion. He had been working on the Metroid franchise for a while, starting as a debugger for Metroid 2. Composer Minako Himano, who had created some of the most memorable music from Super Metroid, also returned, and this time she teamed up with series newcomer Akira Fujiwara to create another memorable score. Sakamoto liked the way Samus controlled in Super Metroid, so he didn't want to make any major changes there. To make the game feel new, he added a lot of story elements, including animated cutscenes and a significant amount of dialogue. Previous games in the series feature very little text, but this game has fleshed out characters and plot twists. It continues the story from Super Metroid, but it's not hard to follow if you're new to the series. Because Metroid Fusion was being developed for a portable system, it was designed to be playable in short bursts, so each section plays out like a short mission. It's also not hard to continue an old saved game if you haven't played in a while. This leads to a very linear experience with a lot of hand-holding. While you are being told what to do, you will still need to perform some Metroid-style exploration to achieve your goals. The world of the game is actually very large, but the mission-like structure often traps you in a smaller space. The end result is a game that works well for the portable platform, but doesn't feel as open-ended as the previous games in the series. On the plus side, the boss battles are very thrilling, and with 5 possible endings based on clear time and completion percentage, there is a ton of replay value. So of course, when Metroid Fusion was released in November of 2002, it received almost universal acclaim. Critics loved the graphics and tight controls, with the only real complaint being that it was just too short. In North America, Fusion released on the same day as Metroid Prime, and if you connected your Game Boy Advance to the GameCube, you could access some bonus features in Prime. Sadly, despite the warm reception, after Fusion, Nintendo once again stopped making new 2D Metroid games. In 2004, they released Metroid Zero Mission, a well-made reboot of the original Metroid, and in 2010, we got Metroid Other M, which is a prequel. For a true sequel to Metroid Fusion, players would have to wait over 18 years for Metroid Dread on the Nintendo Switch, but I guess that's on par with how long they're taking to make Metroid Prime 4. In modern times, players and critics still appreciate Metroid Fusion for its beautiful 2D visuals and its exciting boss battles. When IGN released their list of the top Game Boy Advance games of all time, they ranked Metroid Fusion at number 18. If you'd like to play Metroid Fusion on a modern platform, as of this recording, it is available on Nintendo Switch with the online expansion pack. Modern players that attempt this game will still have to deal with all of the challenges retro games are notorious for. The game may tell you what to do, but it's still easy to get stuck. If you don't know where to go, you could spend hours running in circles. The enemies are vicious and the bosses hit hard. Make one too many mistakes, and it'll be game over. But what if I told you how to find every hidden item and upgrade with minimal backtracking so you can get the game's best ending? What if I showed you how to find hidden Easter eggs like the secret message from the mysterious man? And what if I showed you the best way to defeat every boss? Even the SAX itself? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. And please join our Patreon for access to an exclusive Discord community and a chance to vote on future episodes. This episode was suggested and voted on by members of our Patreon community. Let's get started. All right. Metroid Fusion. As the game loads up, we can see that this is canonically Metroid 4. But if you haven't played the previous games in the series, don't worry. All you really need to know is that Metroids are parasitic monsters that sort of look like space jellyfish. Galactic pirates led by the Mother Brain sought to use the Metroids as a bioweapon, but our hero, bounty hunter Samus Aran, was able to stop them twice. And you can see her here, but something seems off. And at the beginning of the game, we witness Samus crashing her ship directly into an asteroid. So I guess that's the end of Samus. As the game begins, we'll be playing as a new character named Raiden. Alright, that is definitely a joke. There's no way that a little crash would kill Samus Aran. She's been in far more dangerous situations. There's no way that she'd go out like that. As the game begins, we see a flashback which explains what happened. Samus was down on the planet SR-388, which is the Metroid homeworld. In Metroid 2: The Return of Samus, we infiltrated this planet and hunted the Metroids down to almost total extinction. Now, you may find this hard to believe, but completely wiping out a species that was an apex predator caused dramatic changes to the planet's ecosystem. While Samus was on the surface of the planet, she was infected by a previously unknown organism, a parasite named X. Samus didn't take this very seriously, probably because space diseases had never been able to penetrate her power suit before. But it became very serious when the X infested her central nervous system, causing her to lose consciousness while flying her ship. Luckily, the ship's emergency systems were able to eject the escape pod just before impact, although you'd think if it was smart enough to do that, maybe it could have done something to prevent the impact altogether. The escape pod was recovered and Samus was taken to a nearby research lab, but when they got there, she was completely riddled with parasites, so much so that they were unable to just remove her power suit. Portions of the suit had to be surgically removed just to keep Samus alive, but the X were embedded deeply into her central nervous system, and the prognosis was not good. But then miraculously, someone discovered a cure. Now, either medical science works really fast in the future, or there's something about this that's just a little bit suspicious. Not only were they able to whip up a cure to a previously unknown disease in what seemed like a few days, they did it by using Metroid cells. We allowed one baby Metroid to survive after wiping out the rest of them, and that turned into a whole thing. So the fact that the scientists in this lab just have Metroid cells available on hand is more than a little bit concerning. The good news is, the Metroid vaccine worked. It completely annihilated the parasites in Samus's system and made her immune to future X infections. As a side effect, Samus became part Metroid. And I like that a lot from a story perspective. In previous games, the Metroids were just an enemy that we had to fight, but in this game, we are Metroid. Feeling better, Samus accepts a new mission to investigate a mysterious explosion at the Biologic Space Lab's research facility. This large space station is run by the same corporation that recovered Samus's escape pod, and just for accepting the mission, they gave her a new ship. Nice. For better or for worse, the new ship includes an AI computer assistant that will be providing guidance on our mission. Samus certainly prefers to do things her own way, but on this mission, she'll be forced to follow orders. Once our new purple ship has completely docked within the BSL space station, we'll receive an update from our new computer friend. With this first update, we're able to download a map of the main deck, so maybe having a computer assistant isn't so bad after all. It may look like there are a lot of rooms for us to explore here on the main deck, but that's not all of them. There are numerous rooms that are not shown on the map that we'll have to discover on our own, so keep that in mind as you're exploring the station. Unexplored rooms appear gray on the map, while ones that you've been to already will appear pink. Rooms that are not on the map that we've visited will show up as green, so keep an eye out for those. Our first mission is simple. We just need to head for the quarantine bay, which is located on the left side of the main deck. Along the way, we'll stop at a navigation room where we'll be able to uplink to the computer for further instructions. Our AI assistant may have come as part of our new ship, but it seems to already be integrated with the computers here at the BSL research station, so we'll be able to chat with our computer friend anytime we visit a navigation room. As we head to our first destination, we'll get familiar with the basic controls. Samus can now grab onto the edge of platforms, and she can already do a wall jump, although you won't need to do any wall jumps to finish the game. If you jump while moving to the left or the right, Samus will perform a spin jump. If you jump while holding up, down, or no directions, she'll jump without spinning. To break out of a spin jump, tap up, down, or fire your weapon. Once you're done talking to the computer, climb to the top of this shaft and head through the open door to the left. In here, go down to the bottom and go through another open door, and that will bring you to the quarantine bay. If you hold down the L button, you'll be able to angle your shots, and if you tap down while holding L, you'll be able to angle them downwards. That's a good way to get rid of the enemy there in the quarantine bay, and once it's been cleared, you'll be able to head back here to the navigation room, where we'll update the computer on our findings. The computer says this is unfortunate news, but he is really underselling it. The presence of rogue X-parasites on this space station is an unmitigated disaster. The X multiply rapidly and will attempt to devour almost any life form they come across. After completely consuming the host creature, the X absorb its DNA and will try to mimic it, creating a twisted version of the original host. It sounds like we are very lucky to have survived our own X-parasite infection, and the computer surmises that the Metroid vaccine worked because the Metroids were the main predator of the X-parasite in their natural habitat. But the Metroid vaccine doesn't just make us immune to the X infection. Now whenever we come in contact with a free-floating X-parasite, it will be absorbed and will restore some of our health, and later it will replenish some of the ammo for our missiles. So there's a new apex predator in town, and her name is Samus. It's worth noting that there are 3 main colors of X-parasites that you'll encounter in the early part of the game. The yellow ones will restore a small amount of your health, the green ones restore ammo, and the red ones will restore a large amount of health and ammo. One nice thing about this game is that considering almost every enemy that you destroy releases X-parasites, it means that all of the enemies drop something for you. So if you're running low on health, you just have to kill a few enemies and pick up a few X-parasites to get some back. And if you have completely full health, you will always find the ammo X when you defeat normal enemies. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for ammo, try to get your health up to 100% first. Even with the protection of the Metroid vaccine, the computer says that we're only at 10% battle capacity, and our chance for survival is low. Great. And asks if our objective is clear, And although we said yes, and I suppose there is a flashing target on the map, the computer really didn't give us a lot of guidance as to what we're supposed to do about it. Once we finish talking to the computer, we'll head to the right and climb up to this door, where if we head through quickly we can avoid this enemy and we can find a save room where we'll have a chance to save the game. It's a good idea to save frequently in this game for multiple reasons. The obvious one is that if you die, you'll need to reload your previous save, but also, we're trying to get through the game as quickly as possible so that we can finish in under 2 hours. By finishing in under 2 hours, we'll be able to get what the game considers the best ending. The timer is only running when we are in control of Samus, so like right now while we're talking to the computer, we are not losing time. The timer also pauses with you when you pause to look at the map, and it even stops briefly during door transitions. You don't need to move blazingly fast through the game to achieve a time that's under 2 hours. If you follow along with this video, you should be able to do it. But if you ever feel like you wasted several minutes in a section, you may want to reload your previous save and do it again. The computer informs us that headquarters can now send us downloadable upgrades, so we'll take this elevator up to an area that has a data room. As the elevator rises, Samus has an introspective moment. The computer reminds her of a CO she served under named Adam Malkovich, who called her lady on missions. So in her own personal headcanon, she decides to name the computer Adam. Once you get off the elevator, hop up here to the middle tier and cross through this navigation room over here into the data room. Stand on the platform to receive your download. We can now use missiles. Once your download is complete, you'll be able to exit the data room the same way that you came in. This time we'll need to stop in the navigation room to have a short chat with Adam. Electrical interference has caused the elevator that brought us up here to malfunction, so it is currently unusable. But Adam still wants us to go to that target on the right side of the main deck. I guess that means we'll need to make our own elevator with missiles. It was one thing when we were exploring the surface of an uncharted planet, but firing missiles in a space station sounds absolutely insane. If we made even a tiny hole in the wrong wall, the results would be catastrophic. But I guess according to Adam, missiles are our only hope, so we won't hesitate to use them. So let's see, how could we possibly get around this broken elevator? Could it be the flashing red panel on the wall? Yeah, that's the way we need to go, but before we head over here, if you head down here on the left side, you'll find a recovery room which can refill your health and missile ammo. And over here in this corner, we'll find another place where we can save the game. So we may want to stop over there first. If you're not sure how to use your missiles, you just need to hold down R and press B. One missile will open up the plate on the wall, and once you get in here, 3 missiles will remove this obstacle. We found a green X after we destroyed it, so that gave us 2 missiles back. So keep an eye out for green X, those will help replenish your ammo. Right now we can only hold a maximum of 10 missiles, but down here we'll find a missile tank, and that will increase our capacity by 5. There's another missile tank over here hidden in the wall. There's a total of 48 of these missile tanks hidden throughout the game, which will bring our total maximum missiles up to 250. If you're trying to get 100% item completion, which is required to get the game's best ending, you will need to find all 48 missile tanks. Each one is worth 1%. This eye door is known as a Ghidorah, and it takes 3 missiles to destroy. You can't damage it when it shoots the beam at you, so just jump over the beam and get ready to shoot it again. In this room, we need to jump off some ledges, so grab the ledge, hold the direction you want to jump, and then press jump to leap off the wall. After grabbing the first energy tank, don't miss this second energy tank, which you can find by firing a couple missiles up into the ceiling. Each energy tank adds 100 points to our maximum health, and there are 20 of them to find in the game. Down here we'll face our first boss, Arachnus. You want to just pump this guy full of missiles, but stop shooting the missiles if he rolls into a ball because he'll be defending. It takes 15 missiles to release the Core X. The Core X must be destroyed with missiles. It takes 3 hits to make it release the Morphing Ball power-up. You can use your beam on Arachnus' first form, it'll just take a lot longer, but you do have to use missiles on the Core X. If you run out of missiles when fighting the Core X, shoot it with your beam until it releases some green X to replenish your ammo. Once you have the Morphing Ball, you can press down twice to turn into a ball, and you can also use it automatically whenever you're clinging to a ledge and there's a small space you need to pass through. So just grab on the ledge and climb up it to turn into a ball to get through those tight spots. Over here we'll be able to use our missiles to open up this recharge room, which can restore our ammo and health back to full. There's not a lot we can do with the Morphing Ball right now because we don't have the bombs yet, and we also don't have the Spring Ball, so we won't have the ability to jump while in ball form. We'll get both of those abilities soon enough, but for now we'll be very limited to how we use our Morphing Ball. As we pass through the navigation room, we'll need to stop to speak with Adam. It seems that the situation is even worse than we originally thought. It seems that the space station's breeding environments have been invaded by the X. Breeding environments for what? Yo, when I accepted this mission, they didn't say anything about breeding environments. I had better be getting more than just a new ship for doing this. And even worse, Adam says that there's a whole sector on this space station that recreates the SR-388 ecosystem. So that's just great. It's an area that mimics the X-Parasite's natural habitat. And of course, that's where Adam wants us to go next. I mean, if that's what we gotta do, then that's what we gotta do. So once we've received our mission, we'll head over here to the left, and along the way we'll find a spot where we can use the Morphing Ball to uncover another missile tank. That'll bring our total missiles up to 25. So with 25 missiles safely stored in our power suit, we'll roll under this ledge and head to the left, where we'll find an elevator that will take us deeper into the space station. As the elevator disappears down the shaft, the left wall explodes, and from it emerges Evil Samus? This cannot be good. Evil Samus looks very powerful, and after destroying the door on the right side, she marches out of view. Hearing that explosion and feeling the vibration would be more than a little bit unsettling while on this elevator, but once we get to the bottom, we'll head over here to the left, and we'll take this elevator, which leads into Sector 1. Down here in Sector 1, we'll head to the right into the nav room, where we can download the map from Adam. He'll also let us know what our main mission is down here. Adam starts out by giving us some bad news. It seems that the main elevator leading to the access shaft was severely damaged, perhaps by that explosion we heard? This is not good. Adam says that an unknown agent is at work, but we know who it was. We saw Evil Samus, even if no one else did. For now, it seems that the X here in Sector 1 have invaded the atmospheric stabilizers, and they're trying to mess with the thermostat down here. It seems that the X are already reproducing. Gross. Considering that this area was designed to mimic the X's natural habitat, it seems strange that they would want to mess with the atmospheric stabilizers, but that is exactly what they have done. So we'll head over here to the right where we can save the game, and then we'll head over here where we'll pass through a recharge room, which we don't need, and then on into the main area. This doesn't really look like SR388, but once you pass through this room and use some missiles to get rid of that barrier, the area beyond this door, this is more like it. In this misty room, we'll have our first chance to repair an atmospheric stabilizer. Shoot 3 missiles into this green blob to fix the fan. You'd think that would damage the stabilizer, but nope, works perfectly now. Don't spare the missiles on the Hornode enemies in this room, and over on the far right side we can morph into a ball to get the 3rd energy tank. You'll need to shoot directly upwards to clear out that enemy, and we're just going to go directly across this chamber because in this room either the X-parasites have infected the atmospheric stabilizer or someone is seriously violating the station's no smoking policy. Shoot missiles upwards to fix this atmospheric stabilizer, and watch out for the Hornode enemies that are constantly respawning. Once it's repaired, head back down here, and we're going to drop down and to the left where we'll enter this hallway. Hold L to angle your shots and tap down to angle them downwards. If you use a single missile on each of those motos when you get close, you can run right through them. In this chamber, blast down to the bottom and continue to the right. We are getting dangerously low on missiles, so we need to keep our eyes open for the green X-parasites that we can consume to restore our ammo. Hang on the wall and shoot over to the left to fix this atmospheric stabilizer. And we're trying to complete the entire map, so I wanted to fill in a few squares over there. And then we'll head down here to the right. Jump over that moto and continue across to the right, where we'll find another room that has an atmospheric disturbance. For this one, jump at the ceiling ladder to grab on and then climb over to the right. Whenever the stabilizer moves into place, shoot it with some missiles, and then head back over to the left. Fixing that stabilizer unlocked this room where we can find another missile tank, which adds 5 more missiles to our maximum ammo. And we certainly need it with only 5 left. In this room, use a pair of missiles to clear each one of these space pirates, and make sure to grab the X-parasites that they drop so that they don't turn into more enemies. Keep working your way to the top. We've now fixed 4 out of the 5 atmospheric stabilizers, but before we can repair that last one, we're going to have to defeat a boss. So work your way across to the left, climb up across on this ladder. It's faster than going down into the water, although we're going to shoot at these enemies to hopefully get one of those green X-parasites to appear so that we can get some ammo. And there it is. We'll need at least 3 missiles to get through the boss door here. This situation may look a bit bleak considering that we only have a handful of missiles and we're about to fight a boss, but there's a save room over here on the left, and as long as we can take out the Ghidorah eye door with 3 missiles when the eye is open, we'll get a red X, which will refill our missiles to the max. So hopefully we won't get the beam too many times. Don't worry about taking damage from the beam unless you're very low on health. We're about to get that red X, which will fix everything. The other good news is this is one of the easiest bosses in the game. Shoot the Chozo statue and then stand on this platform. Whenever you see the eye open on the core X, you want to jump up in the air, and when you hit that platform above you, aim down and shoot 2 missiles. If you shoot them fast enough, you can hit it twice in one round. You need to hit the core X 4 times with missiles to defeat it. So if you can get 2 double shots, you can beat it in just 2 cycles. It's possible to get double missile hits on all of the core X enemies in the game, but that's the easiest one to do it on. The other ones are a good bit more difficult. Don't miss the missile pack over on the left side before crossing into this room that contains the last damage atmospheric stabilizer. Using the charge beam we just got, it's possible to hit the stabilizer from behind, but what the game wants you to do is to come over here, open up a hole so that you can hit it with missiles. The charge beam method is definitely faster, so if you're going for a good time, you should give that a try. And once the last stabilizer is fixed, we're going to make our way out of Sector 1. There's a save room that we can use up here, and if you shoot the right wall, you'll notice that there's a hidden room on the right side. We're going to skip that one for now. There is a missile pack in there, but to get it, you'll need to do several wall jumps, and even if you're good at wall jumps, it's much faster to get it later in the game, let alone easier. As we make our way out of Sector 1, let's talk a little bit about the charge beam. Our previous beam only dealt 2 damage per shot, but the charge beam deals 4 damage without charging it at all. If you charge it up, the beam deals 10 damage, but it actually has 2 parts to it, so if both parts of the beam hit, that's 20 damage, and there's also a flare animation that appears around Samus when she fires the charged beam, and that hits for an additional 6 damage. So if all 3 parts of the beam hit something, it's a total of 26 damage, so that is a very big upgrade. Back here at the navigation room, Adam tells us that fixing the stabilizers in Sector 1 is a good start, but the X have probably infested the other sectors as well, especially Sector 2, which is showing many abnormalities. It seems that the unseen saboteur may also be in Sector 2 right now, so that's where we're headed next. To get to Sector 2, we'll need to take the elevator back up to the main floor, and then we'll find another elevator leading to Sector 2 there. As Samus stands still in the elevator, once again, her thoughts turn to Adam. Adam would end orders by saying, "Any objections, lady?" But he knew that Samus wouldn't disagree, because she trusted him. But could she trust this computer? But there was no time to ponder that any further. Once the elevator reaches the top of the shaft, make your way to the right, passing the broken elevator in the middle, and over here on the right side, we'll find the elevator that leads to Sector 2, the Tropics. As we head into the navigation room so that we can check in with Adam and download the map of the local area, Adam has a disturbing message. He has learned the identity of our mysterious saboteur. Just as we suspected, it's an X mimicking Samus. Samus was patient 0 for this outbreak, so it should be no surprise that an X mimicking her DNA would be one of the most powerful and dangerous X monsters. Adam has decided to name it the SAX, or the Sax. It definitely sounds less intimidating like that. In any case, the SAX has many of Samus's old abilities that we no longer have access to. So yeah, that thing is definitely dangerous. If we encounter the SAX at our current power level, we won't even be able to damage it. Our only choice is to run away. An unforeseen side effect of the Metroid vaccine is that we are now very vulnerable to cold. In the previous Metroid games, the titular Metroids were very vulnerable to Samus's ice beam attack. And of course, The SAX is armed with it. If we get hit by an ice beam, we'll be frozen in place, and then the SAX will be able to have its way with us. So we need to avoid that at all costs. Our next objective is to get the bomb upgrade, and to get there we'll need to open the level 1 security doors. Unfortunately, the computer won't tell us where the security room is, so we'll have to figure it out on our own. When you look at the map here, Sector 2 appears to be very small, but that's extremely deceptive because Sector 2 is actually massive. There's a ton of uncharted territory to check out here, but we won't be exploring all of it right now. We'll need to return to Sector 2 several times throughout the game. With one last warning to avoid the SAX, the computer opens the door on the right and we can enter Sector 2. Before we go all the way in, we'll save our game, and if you need it, the recharge room is here to restore your energy and ammo. The enemies in this first room can easily be defeated by charging up your beam and shooting them at point-blank range so that you hit with both parts of the beam and the flare animation for a full 26 damage. The missiles that we currently have only deal 10 damage per shot, so unless you plan to launch off a large volley of them, the charged beam is much more powerful. You may notice that there are a bunch of blue doors in this area that we can't currently open, but once we find the blue security room, those doors will all magically become unlocked. So go through up here and drop down to the bottom to unlock all of the blue doors in the game. This is only the first of 4 security rooms that we'll find throughout the game, and once we get security level 4, we should be able to open all of the doors. Now that we can open the blue doors, make your way back the way that we came, and in this large room, we're going to exit through the lower left. So don't worry about the blue door in here right now, just go through this way, charge up your beam and blast through the enemies, and in here, we want to jump up onto this ledge. You'll notice that if you charge your beam and spin jump into an enemy, you will damage it and lose the charge. That's sort of like a screw attack, but it's certainly not as strong. Up here in the D room, we'll be able to download the bomb data. Now whenever we are in ball form, we'll be able to drop small bombs. These bombs will be able to destroy certain types of blocks, including the ones over here on the right, that when removed, will lead us to a missile tank. From the sound of things, the SAX is nearby, so roll down here and bomb in the lower left corner, and then if we go through this door on the right, we'll have an opportunity to save the game. Once the save is complete, we'll head back to the left, we'll charge up our beam so that we can do the pseudo screw attack on that first enemy, and then we'll head through this door on the left. Usually you'll use the bombs to get through walls, but if you place them in just the right spots, posts will appear and you can use them to navigate the area. Place a bomb here and jump from it to find a missile tank. Another thing you can do with the bombs is to perform a small jump while in bomb form. So place a bomb and let it boost you up into the air. And if you place multiple bombs, you can get a slightly larger boost, but you won't be able to do the same kind of bomb jumps in this game that were possible in previous ones. The bombs can also be used as weapons against enemies, but they only deal 8 damage per explosion, so you'll get a lot more mileage out of just using your beam. There are certainly situations where bombing enemies will come up, but when possible, use your beam or missiles instead. And we're going to drop down here to the right, and in this room we want to reveal the entire map, but if you place a bomb you'll be able to go through the floor in the middle, and then we can just drop down on the left side. You'll automatically fall through whenever you step on a block over there. These caterpillar-like enemies are called Zeros, and the blue one takes quite a bit of damage to defeat, but often releases a red X when destroyed. Down here we can use our bombs to find another missile tank, and then you want to work your way back through this block, which can be destroyed with a bomb, over to this door in the lower right. In this room, you'll want to grab onto this ledge, drop down and shoot at those enemies by pointing down and firing, and if you place a bomb over on the right side, a post will appear that will help you get up to that ledge. We're getting close to the next boss fight, and you may want to go through this room to save the game, but there's going to be another save room along the way, so this is a bit unnecessary. One nice thing about coming over here though is that the enemies in the room on the left can be farmed for health or ammo. Just crouch down and blast them, and collect the X parasites to fill yourself back up. In this room we want to climb up this shaft, and we're looking for a door underneath one that's already open. It's going to be on the right side, so there's the one that's already open. Drop down and go through this door. Use your charged beam to blast that Disgiga enemy, and then morph into a ball so that you don't get hit by the spikes that it releases. We can head down here if we want to reveal the entire map, but this room is a dead end. You can go through that block at the bottom, but you still won't be able to get any farther. Instead, the way that we need to go is up and to the right. So head through this door where we'll find that other save room that I mentioned previously. We'll save the game again, although we did just save a moment ago. And we'll head through this room to the right. You'll notice there's an open circle on the map that indicates there's an item here we haven't found yet. And once you grab that energy tank, it will turn into a closed dot. Use your charged beam to get through the Ghidorah, and in here we'll fight the next boss, Zazabi. Charge up your beam and watch as this anthropomorphic prophylactic jumps above your head, and if it opens its mouth, fire a fully charged beam up into it, followed by a single missile. You can do this by holding up and tapping R and then pressing the fire button. If you're charged up, whenever you press R, you'll automatically release the beam. If you deal enough damage, the boss will get smaller. When the boss reaches this very small form, it will always open its mouth whenever it jumps above you. So get ready to deliver the final hit. And then it will be time to destroy the Core X. This time we'll need to hit it 4 times. Make sure not to shoot it when it's flashing. And that's it. Once the Core X is defeated, we can grab our prize, the high jump and the jump ball abilities. The high jump allows Samus to jump significantly higher, so that is obviously a powerful upgrade, but the jump ball is also very useful. It lets you jump while you're in ball form, and you're definitely going to need that. Over here we'll be able to save the game, and then we're going to head back to the left. Now that we've defeated Zazabi, you'll notice that the Zero enemies have turned to stone. Were they somehow connected? Well, in any case, we need to get out of Sector 2, but before we do, we're going to have an encounter with the SAX. This first time, the SAX is very easy to avoid. Just don't get very close to it and let it walk off screen. That's all you need to do. If you do get seen by the SAX, hurry out of the room. On the way out, we're going to be able to grab a bunch of missile upgrades. So in this room, you want to cross the ladder on the ceiling to get this missile tank, and then drop down into the water and place a bomb here to make a post appear. Jump from the post over to this ledge to get to the room on the left side. In here, we're going to make another post appear by placing a bomb in this position, and then jump as a ball over to the left and place a bomb to open the way to the next missile tank. The timing on that bomb placement is a little bit tricky, so if you miss it, just try it another time. Now we're going to head back through this room. We'll place a bomb on top of that block to make another post appear, and that will help us get back over to this side. You'll notice that Samus moves a lot slower in the water, so it may be better to get those upgrades later in the game, but they're not too difficult to get right now. Now all we need to do is climb to the top of this shaft where we'll bomb a couple of blocks to get through. Hop up and place a bomb there, and then roll over to this door. Quickly run to the right through this room, and in here you're going to grab a small ledge on the wall. It's this one right over here, and if you roll up to the right and bomb, you'll find a hidden area with another missile tank. Take the upper path and roll to the left, placing a bomb to get back over here. Roll underneath and place one more bomb, and when you emerge, you'll notice that we're back in the first large room of Sector 2. We avoided this blue door before, but now that we have the jump ball ability, we can jump up and place bombs to reach this area, where we'll find yet another missile tank. But there's still one more missile tank that we can find, and it's over on the left side of this room. You want to take the door that's directly underneath the door that leads to the recharge room, so go through this one over here. And in this room, there's a large enemy called a Kago, that's that pulsating green and purple post. High jump over it and you'll be able to get a missile tank on the other side. That's another one of those missile packs that you can get later in the game, but it's not very difficult to get it right now. Now, with a whopping 75 missiles in reserve, we'll head back to the Sector 2 navigation room to check in with Adam. As usual, it's bad news. It seems that releasing the security lock may have been a bad idea. The level 1 doors didn't just open for Samus, now the SAX has more access to the space station, and it seems that Sector 4 has become absolutely infested with X parasites. Sector 4 is the aquatic zone, and it was already teeming with nasty sea creatures that they were cultivating in this space station for some reason. Now that those creatures have been infected by the X, yeah, this is going to be the most dangerous sector yet. To get to Sector 4, we'll need to take the elevator back up to the main deck, and now that we can open the blue doors, we'll notice that there are 2 more elevators that we have access to. Once again, as Samus rides the elevator, she considers her predicament. The SAX is an enemy with her strongest abilities. We must stop it before it learns of its true potential. Up here on the main deck, we'll head right to take the elevator down to Sector 4. You could also take the elevator down into Sector 3 at this point, but the computer won't let you in there, so there's no point in going there at this time. This time when Adam reveals the sector map, we'll actually get to see most of it. Nice! This sector is pretty large, and according to our computer friend, it has taken a good bit of damage. You may be thinking, aquatic zone? We'll probably be spending a lot of time underwater, but not this time around. The water in this area is mostly electrified, so until we find a solution for that, we will largely be ignoring the water. Adam finds the X parasites fascinating, especially the SAX, and they're just trying to wipe out all biological life, so don't get too attached to them, Adam. Also, somewhere down here in Sector 4 is a large sea monster named Samus that is able to move at ultra high speeds. Why there's a large sea monster here on the space station, the computer doesn't say, but something tells me they're not trying to run a zoo here. At least if we do run into Samus, we've been given permission to terminate it. So I'm just gonna add eliminating turbo sea creatures to the list of things I'm going to build a federation for after we get out of here. If we don't terminate Samus, it may invade other sectors, so I suppose our objective is clear. Before we go, the computer reminds that we need to stay out of the water because power nodes have electrified it. Cutting the power is not an option because it would adversely affect the entire station, and I'm not sure that Adam has the authority to actually do it. It's hard to say. So in any case, as we make our way to the left, we'll need to look out for the electrified water. We'll save our game here in the save room, and if you need to use it, there's a recharge room over to the left. But once we pass through here, we'll be into Sector 4. Cross this room to the left, taking the door in the lower left corner, and then once we pass through this small room, we'll see that electrified water. Charge up your beam so that you can destroy the Sicer enemies that look like crabs, and blow up the blocks so that you have access to this ladder on the ceiling. Drop down and use your charge shots to take out the enemies. They can throw projectiles at you, so shoot them quickly with fully charged shots. In here, we want to cross over to the left side and drop down into the water, where we'll have access to this door. This water is not electrified. This fish, called a Skullterra, can be destroyed with our charged beam and missiles. And once it's out of the way, we'll head up here where we'll take out a few more Sicer enemies, and we're going to work our way up and around. We're going to be able to get an energy tank up here, and once we grab it, we'll head back the way that we came. This is a dead end. Of course, another energy tank is always a good find, so make your way back out and work your way down and to the left. We want to get back to the room with the green water tanks, but before we head into there, we could save the game up in this corner. So we'll take this opportunity to save the game, and then we're going to drop back down, where we'll take this door on the right. Watch out for those Skullterra fish, climb up the ladder on the right side, and go between the two water-filled tanks to find this door over on the left. In here, we have to watch out for some water that's electrified, but if you bomb the blocks at the top, you'll find a hidden ladder. That will allow us to cross safely. There's an easy-to-miss missile pack up here on the left. Just climb to the top of that ladder and you'll find a hidden path that will take you to this room, and once you've grabbed the missile tank, blast through the ouch enemies, and head back out the way that you came. We're going to drop back down, bomb this wall, and we'll find another path over here on the left. So go through this door, which will bring you to this room, and we want to climb up to the top of this one, which is easier said than done. Blast the ouch enemies that are in your way, and up here you want to climb across this ladder. You'll drop through the blocks below if you touch them. Over here we can shoot our way through, and then we'll head over into this save room, which hides a secret path on the right side. And that's where we need to go. So blast open the wall and roll through, where we'll be able to bomb some blocks and head through this door, which takes us to Samus's breeding tank. It looks like there's a sea monster skeleton in the water there, so maybe Samus is already gone. Nah, we're definitely not that lucky. Drop down here, and whenever the door reveals its eye, blast it with a fully charged shot. This is the boss room. Whenever you walk to the middle of this platform, you'll see an earthquake, and then you want to climb up onto the ladder, go all the way to the left, and fire a charge beam so that the full beam and the flare hits Samus right in the face whenever it gets close. After that, it's a little bit more random. You want to try to avoid the boss, and if you can hit it with the fully charged beam and flare a second time, you can defeat this guy in 2 shots, but most of the time it will take at least 3. Try to stay up on the top, look for opportunities to shoot Samus in the face, and whenever the core X is revealed, don't go down into the water. Do your best to stay above the sea and hit it with 5 missiles. Once it's gone, we'll be able to recover the Speed Booster. The Speed Booster is a very important upgrade, and to use it, you need to run in the same direction for an uninterrupted amount of time, and eventually you'll start glowing. If you press down to crouch, you'll charge up your speed boost power, and that will allow you to do a SHINESPARK. You'll need to be speed boosting to break through certain types of blocks. Down here in this area, make sure to get both hidden missile tanks. We will not be coming anywhere near this area later in the game, so get these missile tanks now. Once you have both missile packs, you can safely drop down to the bottom and head over here to the right where we can save the game. We need to use our new speed booster to open the way to the pump room so that we can pump out a lot of the water and bring it down to a safe level. So we're just going to work our way across here to the left. And in this room, you want to stay between the 2 tanks like we went before when we were heading towards Samus. In this room, we're going to go the same way that we went before as well. Stay above the electrified water and just continue across. Now down here, you want to start running to the left, keep the doors open by shooting, and now we'll do our best Kool-Aid Man impression on that wall. Oh yeah! Press the button to lower the water. Stay out of the water as it drops down. You can still get electrified, and hop across here where we'll find another missile tank. Down here in this room, we can reveal the entire map, and then we'll go up through the floor and back to the right. In this room, we can drop down to the bottom to reveal more of the map, but we can't go through the red doors just yet. Those require a level 4 security clearance. Head up here and go across to the right where we can use our bombs to break through this wall. And we weren't able to come down here before because of the electrified water. To reveal the full map, you'll need to roll into a ball and then head over to the left, and we can use our speed booster to go through the wall on the right side. If you charge up a SHINESPARK and then spin jump to the upper ledge, if you try to do a standing jump, you'll activate the SHINESPARK, but you can spin jump up to there, and then you'll be able to SHINESPARK forward. It's not necessary for grabbing the upgrade, and you'll also notice that if you SHINESPARK onto an enemy, you can deal it massive damage. These advanced SHINESPARK techniques are not required for finishing the game, but some of them will be needed to find 100% of the items. But we'll be talking a lot more about SHINESPARK tricks later in this video, so for now, let's check back in with Adam as we exit Sector 4. Adam acts like he didn't know that Samus was infected by the X-parasites, but I'm not so sure that he's being honest with us. This computer seems more than a little bit sketchy. But right now, it seems that HQ has sent over a missile upgrade, and we need to download it, desperately. It looks like there's a data room nearby, but according to Adam, it's been sealed with a level 4 lock, and he doesn't seem to think that we deserve that level of security clearance. The SAX has destroyed the path that leads to the data room that we used earlier in Sector 2, which supports the theory that the SAX is trying to deliberately block our recovery. The X-parasites may be a lot smarter than we thought, so we'll need to be very cautious as we move forward. So it seems that the best place for us to download the super missiles is in Sector 3, the Pyro Zone. The Pyro Zone is filled with lava and things that emit fireballs, and who built this place? In the future, can you just call up a contractor and say, hey, I'd like to get a space station, one that has like a tropical jungle, a faithful recreation of the Metroid homeworld, a lava zone, a water zone, maybe a ice zone, something like that. You've built these before, right? In any case, whenever you get back to the main deck, the way to Sector 3 is over to the left, so we'll need to cross back through the middle. We still can't go up the main elevator, but if we blast through the blue door over here, we'll find the elevator that leads to Sector 3. It's time to get hot. As usual, as soon as we get to the bottom of the elevator, we'll check in with Adam in the navigation room to download the map of the local area. And we get to see most of the map of Sector 3. The good news is that the X-Parasites have not invaded this area yet. So obviously the best course of action would be to open the level 2 security doors and just let them on in. You can see the data room that we're looking for in the upper right corner of the map, but to get there, we'll need to go through multiple green security doors, so we need to go to the green security room first, which is located in the upper left. Protocols prevent Adam from revealing the location of the green security room, but there's nothing preventing me from revealing it, so we'll be in good shape. Now, we were just told that there were no X-Parasites in this region, but it does seem like there are some very violent organisms, so it's certainly not totally safe. Also, there are some areas that are extremely hot, and if we enter one of those high temperature rooms, we'll start losing health rapidly, so we want to stay out of those for now. Luckily, there are no superheated rooms that we need to go through to get to the super missiles, so we won't have to worry about those very much right now. So if you find yourself in one of these super hot environments, it just means that you're going the wrong way and you should turn back. And with that, we'll head to the right where we can save the game, and then if we go into the doorway of the save room, we can start a speed boost that will give us a little bit of a shortcut. The first room in Sector 3 is not that difficult to navigate, but if you started your speed boost far enough to the left, you'll be able to blast all the way over here. Now we're going to charge up another speed boost, and when we get into this room, tap down to charge the SHINESPARK. Then you're just going to press A, and as soon as you see that animation start, you're going to press left. And that will allow you to fly across, and you'll find the secret entrance to the green security room. You'll definitely want to get comfortable with the SHINESPARK technique, but you won't need to use it to get out of here. Just start running to the right and do a big jump through the wall. In here, we'll blast through the walls over to the doorway, but there's a barrier. Up here, if you roll into a ball, you can go underneath that monster, and you'll find a hidden path to open the gate. Make sure to go all the way back to the door to start your run, and you'll be able to speed boost through the floor, which will lead to this area. Climb to the top of this tall vertical shaft and take the door on the left. You want to avoid the bottom area for now because it leads to hot zones. In here, do a little hop and place a bomb so you can get a missile tank, but that's not all that's here. Clear out the blocks and hop up here in ball form where we can place more bombs, and we'll find another hidden area in the upper right. This will lead us to the data room. Use missiles on this side hopper enemy and his friend over on the right side. Continue to the right, and this room is where we'll fight the next boss, but he's not in right now. Instead, just pass through to the data room. This upgrade gives us the super missiles, which replace the normal ones. These super missiles use the same ammo, but they deal 30 damage instead of just 10. The only downside to the super missiles is that they have a longer cooldown than the normal ones, so you can't fire them quite as rapidly. That means if you're trying to do tricks like hitting a Core X with 2 missiles in one round, it's going to be a little bit more difficult with super missiles. Super missiles can blast through those purple barriers, and we can do so in this room to get a missile tank. We'll use the recharge room and save the game down here because we're about to fight the next boss. To make the next boss spawn, we need to head up and to the left. So go through this door, head up into this area, and try to go to the left. When you get to about that spot, you'll trigger the boss, and if you go a little bit farther, you'll trigger this earthquake. And in here, we'll meet Box. We need to shoot missiles directly down onto the center of this boss, and we can't damage it whenever it's launching one of those orbs. I found a good way to do it is to stay on the ladder, intentionally get hit by the fire, and then while you have invincibility frames, get up onto the ladder and get in position above the boss to rain down missiles. Do that a couple times, and you'll be able to defeat Box very quickly. We don't fight a Core X this time because after the boss takes enough damage, it runs away. We'll have to fight the Box again later in the game. If you run across here and tap down as soon as you get through the door, you can charge up a SHINESPARK and then blast through the wall. If you use a bomb here, we can find an energy tank. But that's not the only way to get this energy tank. If you're not good at doing the SHINESPARK, you could place a few strategically placed bombs, one to get you through that wall, and then if you place one under the tank, you'll make a post rise up, and you can get the energy tank that way as well. It's a little bit slower than getting it from above. With the Box defeated and the super missiles in our possession, there's nothing left for us to do in the Pyro Zone right now, so we'll head back to navigation. We can stop in the recharge room, but we're not going to save the game right now. We can just save at the beginning of the next sector. And we'll check in with Adam and see what he has to say. He gives us permission to destroy the rogue security robot should we encounter it again. Well, thanks a lot, Adam, because I would have never thought to destroy it without your permission. In other news, now that we've released the locks on the green security doors, we've gained access to sectors 5 and 6. It also means that those sectors are now crawling with X parasites, so they may be a bit harder to stop than we initially suspected. Honestly, once we saw the first X parasite, we should have probably abandoned this place and nuked it from orbit, but here we are. Sector 5 is the Arctic zone, and considering our vulnerability to cold, we're going to want to avoid that sector for now. Adam claims that HQ is working on a download that will allow our suit to adjust to extreme temperatures, but until we have that transmission, we won't be able to download it, and in the meantime, the X have been systematically destroying all of the data rooms, so that could definitely be a problem moving forward. So for now, we're going to proceed to the night habitat, Sector 6, the Nocturnal Zone. Once we get to Sector 6, we'll visit the navigation room, and Adam will fill us in on what we need to do next. So our objective is clear, and before we go, he says, "Tread lightly, Samus. You are the only one who can do this." That might not actually be true, but it's nice to hear him say it. From here, we'll just head to the left and ride the elevator up to the main deck. But as the elevator ascends, we see a private message between Adam and a mysterious man. The mysterious man asks if Samus suspects anything, and I knew the computer was up to no good. These two are definitely plotting something. They probably made the computer sound like Adam Malkovich, knowing that Samus would be more compliant to its orders if she heard that voice. And if that's what they're doing, Ooh, that is very sinister. But there's no time to think about that now, so we'll just run across to the far right side, where we'll find the elevator that leads to Sector 6. When we head over into the navigation room to download the local map for Sector 6, we finally get some good news from Adam. It seems that HQ has sent over the transmission for the Varia suit, so all we need to do is download it. Even better, there's a viable data room in this very sector that we should be able to reach. Of course, it's not all good news. It seems that X-parasites from Sector 5 have entered the area, and they have been changed by the cold. Absorbing one of these parasites will still kill it, but it'll deal massive damage to Samus, so we need to try to avoid these until we get the Varia suit. The parasites may have developed these blue X as a deliberate tactic to exploit Samus's vulnerability to cold. Either that or they're rapidly evolving. Either way, this is troubling news for sure. Adam says that the X are actively hunting us now, and while I have no idea how he knows that, it's probably true, so we'll need to be extra cautious in this next area. Run to the right through these first few rooms to charge up a speed boost, and then do a big jump through this room to get through the enemies. In here, there are a few items to find. Down in the lower left corner, we can use bombs to open up the path to this missile tank, and after using a few super missiles to clear out this barrier, we can use bombs in the lower right corner to access a room that contains an energy tank. There are a few paths you can open up with bombs here, but you need to take the upper one to actually get the tank. Once you have these items, head back out, and we're going to take the exit in the upper right corner of this room. And in this narrow passageway, you want to angle your beam upwards and just keep shooting as you walk through so that you'll stun the blue X as they come to chase you. The only way to clear a blue X right now is to take a bunch of damage, so we just want to stun them whenever we see them. Shoot out the top two blocks here, but avoid the bottom one because it has a blue X hidden inside. And you can see when we got hit by the blue X, we took 69 damage? No, not nice. If we take about 70 damage a few times, we are definitely going to die. Speed boost through the wall in that room, and down here we'll find a save room. You can also blast these enemies to farm them for some extra health. Of course, we're about to find an energy tank which will completely refill our health, so don't worry too much if you've taken a bunch of damage in this sector. Head back over to the left, and this time we're going to continue across, freezing a blue X up above by hitting it with our beam. And there's that energy tank I was talking about. Place a bomb over to the left of it so that we can find a hidden path below. This next room appears to be a dead end. We need power bombs to get through this wall. So how are we going to do it? Cue the SAX. The SAX has the ability to use power bombs, so we'll just wait down here for our enemy to take care of the wall for us. Once the SAX places a bomb, get back over here to the left. If you're too close, the SAX's power bomb can damage you. And you just want to wait for it to walk away. If you do get seen by the SAX, drop down through those blocks, and in this room you need to shoot out the wall and then jump up onto this ledge. It seems like the SAX forgot how to transform into a ball, so although Adam keeps telling us that the SAX is very intelligent, but after that encounter, I am not convinced. A lot of the blocks in here contain blue X, so we need to be careful about which ones we shoot. Down at the bottom you can find a hidden path in the lower left corner, and after clearing out a few of these Zoro enemies, we can bomb over to the left where we'll find a missile tank. Make sure to grab this missile tank because we will not be coming back this way later. You can see that that block has a blue X in it, so avoid shooting it and just shoot the blocks directly above it. And that music means we're about to fight a boss. Use a super missile to get through the eye door, and it seems that the Core X has destroyed the data room. No, we needed that to get the Varia suit download. Well, the Core X will have to pay for that. And in this room we'll face the boss, Mega X. Your missiles won't work here, so charge up your beam, and whenever Mega X gets close, do a non-spin jump and hit it in the large central orb with your full charged beam. You want to be at point blank range so you also connect with the flare. Whenever you fight the Core X, you'll need to hit it 6 times with your super missiles. Don't bother shooting it when it's flashing, and throughout this fight, try to avoid falling into the water. The water will slow you down. Our reward is the Varia suit, which will protect Samus from extreme temperatures. If you're trying to fill in the whole map, you'll need to do a couple of wall jumps to hit the upper parts of this room. To do a wall jump, do a spin jump towards the wall, and right as you're about to hit it, press the opposite direction and the jump button to bounce off. Over to the right of the boss's room, we'll find a place where we can save the game, and you'll notice that now we can absorb the blue X without taking damage. Once you've saved, you'll want to climb up the ladder, and there are 2 missile tanks that we want to find down here. We are not coming back to this part of Sector 6 later in the game, so make sure to get these now. Jump so that you land directly on that missile tank, and then hold left as you fall against the wall so that you grab onto that ledge, and you'll find another missile tank up here. Watch out for those Zozoro enemies, and that weird blue one is called a bull. And once you get back here, we're going to climb the ladder again, and this time we'll head to the right. Now that we have the Varia suit, we just need to get out of here. We have over 100 missiles in reserve, and very few of the regular enemies can survive 2 missile blasts, let alone 1. So we can use those to make short work of the enemies as we make our way out. There is one more missile tank that we'll want to grab before we go. It's one that we could have picked up before, but there was a bunch of blue X guarding it, so it would have been especially dangerous to do without the Varia suit. So we're going to climb up here and go through this door. And here's the room with all the blue X. They are very hard to avoid in this room. The missile tank you see there is an imposter. Blast it with a missile and use a bomb at the bottom of the wall here to get through to the real missile tank. Once you have it, head back to the left. That's the last thing we needed to grab in Sector 6 for now. So we're going to go to the top of the vertical shaft in the room to the left of this one. And when we get there, we will take the door at the top. So just climb up this ladder. Watch out for those bull enemies. Whenever you shoot them, they emit a poisonous gas. So you don't want to hit those things when you're very close to them. Continue across here. Our charged beam is very good against the Zozoros. Hit the bull enemies from far away. And just work your way back up to the recovery room. Head over to the left. One more room to go, and here we are. If you need a recharge, you can do it now, and it's probably a good time to save the game. With our progress recorded, we'll head over to the left, where Adam poses a very interesting question. How did that X download the Varia suit data? That doesn't make any sense. The only possible explanation is that the X have the ability to process data organically. And yeah, that definitely sounds crazy. I'd like to assume that that's unprecedented. I mean, I guess this is the future. Does space science know anything about other creatures that can process data organically? Anyways, Adam says that we're still too weak to defeat the SAX, but he does have an idea. His simulations indicate that a penetrating weapon, like the plasma beam, might work. So all we need to do is figure out how to regain plasma beam functionality, and we can blast that SAX right off of the map. Look, the galaxy might be a big place, but there's only room for one Samus, so we need to figure out how to get that plasma beam. He also says that restoring the ice beam is impossible because our cellular makeup would reject the addition. However, HQ figured out that ice missiles, totally fine. I'm not exactly sure why our cellular makeup wouldn't also reject ice missiles, but hey, whatever works. So we need to head over to Sector 5, the Arctic Zone, where we'll be able to get that download. Of course, the elevator to Sector 5 is on the far left side of the main deck, and we are currently on the far right side. So whenever we get to the top of this elevator, we're just going to start running to the left. Keep blasting the doors so that they'll open in front of you, and eventually your speed booster will get going, and that will have you running a little bit faster. You don't want to bonk into the wall at the end, so once you see Sector 5, tap down to charge up your SHINESPARK, but we're just going to go down the elevator and not actually use it. Sector 5 is the only sector we haven't been to yet, so when we get to the navigation room, the first thing we'll do is download the final local map. You can see on the map that there's a data room over on the right side, so that's where we need to go to get the ice missiles. But of course, the data room is locked between a level 3 door, so we'll need to find the yellow security room before we can proceed. Adam's not allowed to tell us where the yellow security room is, but with like a wink and a nod, he seems to indicate that it's probably somewhere nearby. Our objective is clear, so we'll head out to the right. If you need to save or use the recharge room, feel free to do so. We don't actually need to charge up a speed boost here, because there are a lot of areas locked behind yellow doors here, and to get through we need to use a missile on this wall so that we can roll over to this area, which is a very large room. In here, if you angle downwards and shoot missiles, you can quickly clear out those enemies, otherwise they'll pop up and slowly float down towards you. Make your way over to the lower right corner and we'll enter the cold zone. Since we have the Varia suit, the temperatures won't bother us here, and we just need to break through the floor over to this area where we're going to work our way over to the left. We need to get enough runway to charge up the speed boost so that we can break through the floor over on the right. That will allow us to continue through. Waivers are another classic Metroid enemy that attack us in this area, and they're very powerful, so I recommend using missiles on them. Use a bomb to open up the wall here, and then blast those waivers with your missiles. Then run on through to the other side. In this room, shoot down through the floor, and then head through to the left. There's a save room that we can use here to record our progress, and then we're just going to go all the way across to the left, where we'll find the level 3 security room. So hop past these cargos, they won't hurt you right now. Go through this narrow hallway, and here it is, the yellow security room. All of the yellow doors are now open. With security level 3, Sector 5 becomes wide open. This room's a little bit annoying. Whenever you shoot the Zila enemies here, try to collect the X that come out of them quickly so they don't turn into new enemies. And don't stand on those square formations of blocks. Those will break out from under you. Shoot through the squares over there and then blast up through the ceiling to find a yellow door that leads to a save room. We saved recently, but I guess we'll save again, and then we'll head on through to the right. We can open up this barricade now, and then we'll head on over to the right. In the next room, we don't need to speed boost through the floor. Instead, we want to climb up where we'll find a yellow door that we can access on the other side of this room. And there it is, the data room. And once we step on the button, the ice effect will be added to our missiles. These missiles don't just freeze enemies, they also deal more damage. Ice missiles deal 40 damage, while super missiles would only deal 30. They have a slightly longer cooldown, but it's only 1 frame more than the super missiles, so it's barely noticeable. Kill the fake energy tank in this room with your missiles, and you'll find the real energy tank hidden in the wall. Gotta watch out for those mimics, they could be anywhere. Drop down to the bottom, morph into a ball, and hop into this room that contains a clever puzzle. If you shoot this Zila and don't collect the X-Parasite, it will transform into a chute, and when that chute jumps up into the air, you can freeze it with your ice missiles and use it as a platform to get up to this area. Shoot the Zila here and let its X-Parasite turn into a Ripper. Freeze the Ripper just before it comes over to that pipe, use it as a platform, shoot up into the ceiling, and you'll find the hidden missile tank. Nice. In this room, let the X infect this Kago and then freeze it with a missile. Jump on top of it and shoot into the ceiling so that you can access this room. Now we need to hit this Zila and let the X-Parasite turn into another Zila over here. If we kill it again, it will eventually activate that Kago, and we can freeze it, and now we can start running to the left. This is going to allow us to charge up the speed boost we need to get through that wall. For extra style points, use the SHINESPARK to get up to the top. Now we just need to get out of here, but we'll definitely be coming back later. Shoot through this wall and then blast over to the left so that you can roll through that passage, and that will get you past those boost blocks. We can't get through the barrier on the left there without the power bombs, so just head up here and that will bring you back to this large chamber. And now there seems to be some large creature flying around in the area behind the room. Very ominous. We can run under those blue chute enemies and enter this room, where if you jump and place a bomb, we'll find a hidden missile tank. Now we'll go through the yellow door on the left, and when we do, it seems that there's an emergency in Sector 3. Now's a good time to use the recharge room and make sure to save your game, because once we go into the navigation room and talk to Adam, there's going to be a timed countdown and we won't be able to save until we complete the next mission. So, the main boiler for the entire space station is located in Sector 3, and it could melt down soon. That could destroy the entire space station. This is not good. We should probably just get to our ship and get out of here. But unfortunately, the elevator that leads up to that part of the main deck is still broken. So all we can do is hurry over to Sector 3 and see if we can fix the problem. If you're wondering what exactly happened in Sector 3, well, we know exactly who to blame. The only logical explanation is that the SAX must have hacked into the system control files, so I guess it can do that now. This timed challenge is designed to ratchet up your adrenaline, and it succeeds in doing that. If we run out of time, it will be game over, and we'll have to reload from our last save. In actuality though, 6 minutes is plenty of time to accomplish our next objective, so as long as we just stay focused, we should be totally fine. It's a little bit frustrating waiting for the elevator while the timer is ticking down, but when you get to the bottom, start running across these rooms. Make sure to blast out the doors so you don't get stopped by the door, and you should charge up a big enough speed boost to bust through the wall on the right, which will allow us to get directly into this room, where we'll want to duck down underneath that wall dragon, which is called a Foon. And if you shoot at the barrier and start your run from the far left, you'll be able to break out the floor here. In this room, we're going to go down this time. Don't worry about the room on the right, we'll return to it later. Instead, head over here to the left. As you cross this room, you want to make sure that you stay on the ceiling. So while you're crossing the ladder, make sure to hold up and left, so if you get hit by a fireball, you won't fall into the lava. If you're just holding left, you will fall in if you get hit. Freeze this Foon whenever it pops out, and you can jump off it up to here, and we'll be able to quickly get through these rooms. There's only 5 minutes left on the timer, but we're close. Angle some ice missiles up at these Foon enemies and use them as platforms to get into this room. Make sure to shoot your missile so that it hits the Foon on the left there. You don't want to hit the platform next to it, or you'll have to wait for that platform to respawn. Freeze the enemies here, don't stand on those breaking platforms, and drop down to this door. Quickly freeze that Sova enemy and head across to the left. Quickly fire 3 missiles as you run to the left across the main boiler room to clear out one enemy and use the other one as an icy platform. And in here, you want to blast the scientist, who will turn into a Core X. Then head up to this platform. Whenever the Core X reveals its eye, jump up into the air and shoot downwards. You're fairly safe in this spot. And that's it. Once the Core X is defeated, grab the power-up, which will grant us the Wide Beam. Once you have the Wide Beam, drop down, step on the button to activate the cooling unit. We did it with over 4 minutes to spare. The Wide Beam doesn't just increase the area that our beam affects, it also makes it deal more damage. Now our uncharged beam deals 9 damage, and the charged beam deals 45. Over 50 if you also hit with the flare. Now that the timer is off, we just need to make our way back to the elevator. We can drop through the block here and freeze the Foon below, and then we'll head across to the door. In this room, we just need to drop down and we will go to the left, where we'll find a small room full of Sovas. Quickly run under them so that you don't get hit by the fire they drop. And in here, we'll drop down and go to the right again. We need to cross this ceiling another time. We have a more powerful beam now, so the enemies are less threatening, but still make sure that you're holding up and right as you cross the ceiling, just in case you get hit by one of those fireballs. That way you won't fall off. We're not going to go to the green door on the right at this moment. We are going to come back to this area later. So just freeze the enemies as you climb up this shaft, and you want to go all the way to the top. So climb all the way to the top. You can use these Foon enemies as platforms if you need to, and head over here to the left. We've been in this room before, but we're going to take the upper path right now just to open up a few more areas on the map. If you're not trying to open up the whole map, it is not necessary to go this way, and you can actually just take the lower path, which is a little bit faster. But now we will take that map square and turn it from gray to pink, and then we'll drop down here where we will blast through, and we'll head up to the top where we'll find the recharge room. So that's it for Sector 3, at least for now. I'm glad we were able to fix that cooling unit. If it was more complicated than just pressing a button, we may have been in big trouble. We'll save the game up here. We haven't been able to save in a while. And we'll stop back at the navigation room to check in with Adam. We now know that the X mimicked a crew member to cause that meltdown, which shouldn't be too surprising since we've already seen it mimic Samus. However, it does imply that the X ate that guy's brain and it was able to download his knowledge and memories, which is extremely disturbing. I guess that guy wasn't important enough to get a Metroid vaccine? The greater implication here is that the X were willing to sacrifice the entire space station just to kill Samus, which indicates that they consider her such an important threat to eliminate that it overrides their own survival instinct. Do the X know that if we get out of here alive, that we may try to eradicate their entire species? Well, in any case, Adam sees biosigns up on the habitation deck, and now he's suddenly able to restore power to the main elevator. I thought that elevator was broken. Maybe it was broken. Maybe while we were out adventuring, it got fixed up by space gnomes or something. But it seems more likely that our computer friend just wanted to trap us down here on the lower levels so that we can do the missions that it needed us to complete. If we could return to the main deck this entire time, we would have probably just gone back to our ship and left. Now that we're able to go up this elevator, I'm not sure what exactly is stopping us from doing just that. Maybe the idea that there could be some survivors up on the habitation deck, but if you ask me, any human crew members are probably already infected by X parasites, and we should probably just get out of here and leave the cleanup to someone else. Of course, we're not actually going to abandon this place, and if we take a quick detour to this Sub-Zero containment room, we'll notice that that is none other than Ridley frozen on ice. Of all the space stations in the galaxy, what are the chances that we would be on the same one with Ridley? We really gotta get out of here. But for now, we'll head to this elevator, which will bring us up to a part of the main deck we haven't been to yet. At the top of the elevator, we can head to the right to find a save room. Feel free to record your progress, but this area is not particularly dangerous, so we don't have a lot to worry about up here. If we head over to the left through the green door, in this tall shaft we'll find two Foon enemies, and you want to encourage them to extend off of the wall so you can freeze them with your ice missiles and use them as platforms to reach the top. When you get to the top, blast through the floor and open that gate. Then run from the right side over to the left so that you can speed boost through the floor. You'll find a hidden path over here, which will lead to this room. In this room, you want to freeze the Foon enemies with your ice missiles and climb the ladders on the walls to reach the top. And when you press this button, we will open the gate, releasing our animal friends. It seems that the biosigns Adam detected were Eticoons and Dachoras, two friendly types of animals that we first met back on the planet Zebus. They don't seem to be infected by X parasites, and they scurry off to the right. We should head back the way that we came in. If we do, we'll be able to pick up a missile tank down here on the lower level. So don't miss that as you head back to the elevator. As Samus rides the elevator back down, we get another look into her mind. She remembers the Eticoons and Dachoras, and it seems that the ones here recognized her. Interesting. What are the odds that we would be on the same space station as Ridley and the Eticoons and Dachoras that we've met before? Probably not very good. Down here, everything is eerily quiet. We just want to drop to the bottom and head over to the left into the navigation room. Here we'll be able to check in with Adam. It is unfortunate that none of the survivors were human, but finding uninfected animals is not nothing, so I'm taking that as a win. We can be fairly confident now that the remaining crew members are beyond saving, and that many of them became food for the X. We cannot let these parasites get off of this space station. Without widespread access to the Metroid vaccine, X-parasites could easily wipe out huge populations of people and animals. That is just not a risk that I think we can take. We're going to need some more powerful weapons to deal with the ever-evolving X threat, and HQ anticipated this and sent over a power bomb download. This is great! We should be able to use a data room over in Sector 5 to download it, so that's where we're going to head next. I'm a little bit surprised that the X haven't trashed the data room in Sector 5 just yet, so we should probably get over there as quickly as possible. From here, we need to get back down to the lower part of the main deck where all the elevators are, so we'll head across to the left, and we want to speed boost over here so that we can break through this wall, and we can grab a missile tank upgrade along the way. Not bad. Head down this elevator to get back to the place with all of the other elevators, and Sector 5 is on the far left of that room. So once we get down here, you'll see the blinking 5 on the left side. So we'll just head over this way, we'll blast open the doors, and we'll find that elevator over here in the corner where it's always been. We've been to Sector 5 before, so whenever we stop into the navigation room, Adam doesn't have a whole lot more to say to us. We just need to make our way to the data room. We've been there before, so it should not be too hard to find. He will show you its position again, just to make sure. Yeah, thanks a lot, Adam, we get it. Our objective is totally clear. Let's move out. Now is not a bad time to save the game, so we'll stop here and record our progress. If you've taken significant damage or are low on ammo, you can use the recharge room, but I think we're doing just fine. We don't need to go through the wall this time, we're just going to go to the bottom of this room, and over here on the left we can find a missile tank. To get it, you can hop through the bottom of that box on the left side. You can just go right through and easily pick up the tank. Now we're going to head across to the right, and this is the large room which we've been to several times now, and you can see that that looming shadow is still floating in the background. Blast through the chute enemies and drop down to this door, and we'll head across to the right. To get to the data room, we want to head to the door that's directly below the red one on the map. In here, we'll open up a barrier, blast through the yellow door, and there's the data room we've been looking for. Getting this upgrade was surprisingly straightforward. There's gotta be some kind of catch somewhere. And we're going to head to the right after collecting the upgrade so that we can blast down to the bottom here, and we'll be able to use our power bombs in this room over on the left. That will open up the floor. Head over here into a new area. Those echoing footsteps mean the SAX is nearby. Place a power bomb and then hop into the upper passage. Hop over the ice beams so you don't get frozen and work your way to the left. When you get to this room, the SAX will leave you alone. If we use a power bomb in this room, we'll be able to uncover a power bomb tank in the lower left corner. You start out with enough ammo to make 10 power bombs, but each time you find one of those tanks, it adds 2 more to your maximum, and you'll be able to find a total of 32 power bomb tanks throughout the game. There's another power bomb tank in this room, and we should be able to find a few more as we work our way out of Sector 5. So drop down to the bottom here and head over to the left. It's the yellow security room, and this room should also look familiar. It's a little bit easier to climb out now that you can freeze the Zeelas. So freeze them and use them as platforms, and then just work your way to the top. Up here at the top, we'll find a red Zeela, and if you blast it with a few missiles, it will often drop a red X for you to pick up. And just in time for us to save the game. So we'll record our progress and head over here to the right. After opening up this gate, we can finally get through these orange barriers. These living barriers are technically known as gerons, and this orange variety can only be destroyed by using a power bomb, the speed booster, or the screw attack. In this room, if you use a power bomb, you'll notice that some of the blocks are actually not as they appear. So we want to freeze these ripper enemies in just the right spot so that we can use them as platforms. Freeze this one right about there, turn into a ball and hop over. Then make sure you jump directly onto this power bomb because you could still fall through at the end. What a dirty trick. That's the last power bomb tank for now, so we're just going to go outside and try to work our way back to the elevator. Watch out for those waivers, head back up here and over to the left. The waivers are much easier to destroy now that we have the wide beam, and if we use a power bomb here, we'll find a shortcut that will get through this large room that you usually have to climb through. So that's nice. And down here we'll go through some yellow doors and then head up the ladder where we will find the recharge room. If you need to use the recharge room to replenish your energy, missile, or power bomb ammo, you can. And if you want to, over here we can record our progress. Whenever we head over into the navigation room and check in with Adam, he doesn't have very much to say to us this time. Instead, he just commands us to immediately return to the ship and suggests that he has important information. Is this it? Are we finally getting out of here? Well, we'll head up the elevator, and to get back to the ship, we'll need to take the large central elevator in the middle of the room. So whenever we get up here to the main deck, we'll head back across to the right. We'll blast through the blue door and the gray one, and we're not going to use our SHINESPARK, so we'll just go up this elevator, and everything seems to be normal until this happens. The elevator shuts down and we need to shoot our way through the wall. Place a power bomb in this room to clear out the gamers. They're actually difficult to remove otherwise. And in here, oh no, it seems that a large X has absorbed Ridley. Down here at the bottom, we'll use 2 power bombs to get through this tunnel, and we'll find a hidden power bomb tank. We are definitely not coming back this way, so make sure to get this upgrade now. Over here, we'll use a couple of power bombs to clear out the gamers, and also some of those Genesis enemies that are up on the top, because we need to get a good bit of runway so that we can go over here to the right and break through those speed boost blocks. Over here, a well-placed power bomb will reveal a missile tank, so we'll grab that and head up here, and look at that, we're back at the docking bays. Drop down to the bottom and head across to the right, and that will bring us to the hangar where our ship is. When it asks if you want to save your game, I usually say no here. You can save your game after you see this short cutscene. Otherwise, if you were to die, you would have to go through all of this dialogue again. Up here on the ship, Adam informs us that the elevators and hatches aren't working, and that definitely checks out. We were on the elevator when it stopped. He says if we can reach the target room, we can turn on the auxiliary power supply, so that's what we need to do next. He also tells us the original reason why he asked us back to the ship. It seems that the Edicoons and Dachoras have boarded. It's great to see that our animal buddies are not only safe, but they've also managed to avoid infection. After confirming that we do know these animals, the computer agrees to allow them to stay on the ship, saying their presence in the midst of this disaster must have some significance. And now it's time to try to turn the power back on. So we're going to head over to the left, And whenever we get to the docking bay, we'll use a power bomb so that we can access a previously inaccessible part of the main deck. This behind-the-scenes zone is known as the reactor silo, and we'll want to bomb or blast our way down to the bottom and head through this open door. Try to stay up at the top here. You can blast through these vines, but use them as platforms so that we can quickly get over to this door. In this room, we encounter space pirates. Switch over to your missiles and blast them several times to get them out of the way. And over here, we'll find an energy tank. So we'll grab that, it's kind of hard to miss, and we'll continue to the right. This room is a bit of a maze. Use your missiles to defeat the pirates, and there are certain blocks that we'll need to shoot out so that we can get through. If you can't figure out which blocks to shoot, you could always just use your power bombs, which will reveal a lot of secrets as they explode. Grab the missile tank in this narrow tunnel and then roll back to the right. Down here, shoot the pirate and try to quickly absorb the X-parasites that are released whenever it's destroyed. Shoot down through the floor here, roll over to the right and use a bomb at the bottom. Now we're going to head back to the left, and when we climb up here, we'll see an eye door, which we know means that a boss is up ahead. A single ice missile is all it takes to destroy this Ghidorah, but as usual, you can only damage it when it's not doing the beam. This boss is known as Yakuza. As the fight begins, you can score cheap hits by standing in the middle of the room, aiming upwards and firing missiles. You need to make sure to jump so that the screen scrolls up for those hits to count. If Yakuza does manage to grab Samus, rapidly tap left and right to escape. And whenever it opens the mouth, get underneath it and rapidly shoot upwards with missiles. In this phase of the fight, try to get under the head and shoot missiles directly up at it, or try hanging out in the corners of the room and holding L while you fire the missiles to shoot them at an angle. Both strategies should work fairly well. This part of the battle is actually pretty easy, and when it explodes, of course a Core X is released. Yeah, we knew this thing was infected by an X-parasite. If you're going to mimic a spider, maybe make one that actually has 8 legs instead of 6. It will take 6 missiles to defeat the Core X, and when it's destroyed, we'll get our reward, the Space Jump. The Space Jump essentially allows us to fly. Make sure you're doing a spinning jump, so you need to be moving left or right whenever you jump. And in mid-air, as soon as Samus starts to drop, press the jump button again to boost up higher. Up here, we'll be able to turn on the auxiliary power, and then we'll be able to check in with Adam over here in the navigation room. Now that we've turned on the auxiliary power, we can use save and recharge rooms again, but we still can't open doors or use the elevator, so we're quite stuck at this point. We'll need to find the source of the problem, which presumably is the vegetation that was choking out the reactor core. Just destroying the vines that are constricting the reactor won't be enough. We need to find the root of the problem, which is located in a previously unexplored part of Sector 2. Before we go there, we can use the save room now, so if we drop to the bottom of the reactor core, we can use this one before we continue onwards. The very dangerous enemies in this room are known as key hunters, and I recommend using your ice missiles to take them out. They will certainly hassle you if you allow them to. Use your space jump to float up to this area and clear the vines in the upper left corner. You'll find a hidden passage up here. We'll use a power bomb to quickly clear the vines, and here in Sector 2, we've encountered the SAX again. Hit it with a freeze missile, and in this room you want to place a power bomb and then turn around to freeze it again. Run into this room, angle upwards to shoot open the barriers, And in here, if you drop down below, you'll be able to escape the SAX, although the normal way of escaping it would be to access the room on the far left, which is this room right here, and you'd want to go to the other side of that wall and wait for the SAX to leave. Shooting downwards into this area is much faster. We are back in Sector 2, and we're going to use our space jump to get up here, but then we're going to blast our way downwards so we can go through this open door. Remember, we can only go through open doors right now. If you see any that are closed, you won't be able to get in. Place a power bomb in that specific spot, and then space jump up here. The power bomb will clear out all of the enemies, and we'll be able to easily grab a power bomb tank. Once you have it, space jump up to the top and head to the right. Here's that other save room. This one is closer to the boss, so we should probably save our game here, and then we'll head over to the right. In this area, if you go upwards, we'll be able to find a hidden recharge room. So shoot up through the vines, watch out for the enemies, and you'll find it over in this wall. The next boss is not that difficult if you know what you're doing, but it's probably better to be safe than sorry. Once you're filled up, head back outside, drop down, and go to the right. And in this room, you want to shoot upwards as soon as you get through the door. That will take you up here, where you'll have to clear out some vines, watch out for the key hunters, and then blast through this Ghidorah to enter the boss room. This is Notori. If you fall into one of those plants, hold up and jump to escape. But you really just want to get over to the corner of this platform, keep dropping power bombs, and between power bomb explosions, rapidly fire missiles into the boss. Eventually, the boss will change forms, and those pods at the top of the screen will go away. In this form, you just want to hammer the center of the boss with your missiles, jump over the low lasers, and crouch under the high ones. And here is the Core X. We'll need to hit the Core X with 5 missiles whenever it reveals the eye, and you want to try to jump over the beam that it shoots out whenever you blast it, because that beam can deal a decent amount of damage. So shoot it, hop over the beam, and once it's destroyed, we'll be able to recover the Plasma Beam. The Plasma Beam is just what we needed to stand a chance against the SAX. In this room, don't shoot the walls and release the enemies. Instead, just go to the bottom and head over here to the left. If we keep running to the left, we can charge up a SHINESPARK, which will allow us to very quickly make our way across. It's certainly not necessary to use a SHINESPARK here, but it is very fast. As we work our way back out of Sector 2, we'll be able to find a few more hidden items. Up here, we can enter a door that was previously inaccessible. The trick to getting the items in this room is to freeze this ripper on the left side of that overhang. You can freeze these ones too, that'll help out, but as long as you're to the left of the overhang, whenever you drop through the floor, you'll land on the ripper and you'll be able to just hop up to the power bomb, and you can find another power bomb tank hidden in the wall below it. Once you have both of them, make your way up the ladder and back out through the door on the right. Now we need to head back to the right. The plasma beam that we just acquired can pierce enemies, and that sounds good for hitting multiple enemies that are near each other, but it's actually much better than that. As the beam passes through a monster, it keeps dealing damage on every frame that it's touching the enemy's hitbox. The uncharged beam deals 9 damage per frame, while the charged up version deals 27. We're going to place a power bomb in this room to clear out these ouch enemies. If you don't do that, after you go through the wall over here and get the energy tank, they'll get in the way as you try to head back. So make sure to get rid of those ouches first, and then you'll have no problem as you go back through. From here, we're going to head straight across to the left. and we haven't been in this room before. Just keep blasting those key hunters as you head through, and that will take you back here, which is a more familiar room. For the moment, there are no more items that we need to grab here in Sector 2, and now that the doors are open again, we can head up here, which will lead us back to the navigation room. We can stop for a quick recharge along the way, and if you want to save the game, you can do so right here. When we get back to the navigation room to check in with Adam, you would think that he would be very excited that we found a weapon that may be able to damage the SAX. But instead, he says that it's most unexpected. Most unexpected? I'm pretty sure Adam suggested earlier in the game that we may be able to get the plasma upgrade by defeating some sort of Core X. He says we still lack a few abilities crucial for survival, but what more do we need? We can freeze the SAX with the ice missiles and then roast it with the plasma beam. That thing better look out. Well, in any case, it seems that there's been another explosion in another data room. The explosion occurred in Sector 5, where we kept seeing that large shadowy monster flying around in the background. I wonder if that might have something to do with it. We have those thoughts in mind as we hop onto the elevator and ascend to the main deck. The Arctic Zone is located on the far left of this hallway, so we'll just run straight across, blasting any doors in our way. And when we get to the end, we'll tap down so that we don't bonk into the wall, and then we'll go down the elevator to the next sector. We've been to Sector 5 a couple of times now, but this time it's a little bit different. Many of the rooms are damaged, and the map doesn't look exactly the same. The problem seems to have been caused by a creature kept here by the research team, known as the Nightmare. Great. This time, instead of being intentionally vague, Adam tells us straight up that the Nightmare is a biomechanical organism that was designed for military applications, which is such a stark level of honesty that it makes me a little bit concerned. He also says that the Nightmare has the ability to manipulate gravity, and that we must assume that it's become an X-host. Yeah, this is pretty bad. So I guess our objective is clear. We must find and terminate the Nightmare. So that's what we're going to do next. Or I guess it's what we're going to do after we find a few more hidden items. So work your way over to the right, and we're going to drop down to the bottom of this room where we will open the yellow door on the right side so we can pass through this corridor. And this room is a lot more damaged than it was previously. You can freeze an enemy or use the space jump to get up here, and then we want to clear out all of the chutes here by using a power bomb. Make sure the door on the left is open, run to the right, tap down to charge the SHINESPARK, press jump, and then tap left to fly across, where we'll be able to grab a missile tank, and then we'll bust through the wall where we'll find a hidden power bomb. So make sure to get both of those items and then head back out to the right. Now that this sector is damaged, we no longer need to climb around this room, so just drop down to the bottom and head to the right. And if you look at the map, it seems like there should be a red door over here that we can't pass through, but I guess the Nightmare destroyed it because it's not there. So just continue across up above the data room and work your way over here to the right. After dropping through the floor, try to shoot a missile into the wall over here so that you can grab the ledge and you'll enter this room. Do not use any bombs in this room because you can trigger a hidden post that blocks the energy tank. Instead, just try to bounce over the parts of the floor that drop out from under you. Eventually you should be able to grab it, and then we'll head back down here into this watery area, and in the water, Samus does not move very fast. Charge up your beam to deal with these sea pirates, and hop up here, which will take us back over to the left. In here, we will finally be able to get out of the water, so deal with that pirate, and then hop up out of the drink. Shoot through the door, and in this room we're going to use a missile on this enemy, and then we'll shoot up through the ceiling and head to the left, where we can place a power bomb to clear out these Zeelas, and we'll find a power bomb tank in the lower left corner. Also, if you don't collect the X parasites right away, they'll form into a red Zeela, which you can blast to get a red X. We don't really need the red X because if we use a power bomb here, we'll find a hidden path that leads to a power bomb tank, and through that door on the left, there's a recharge room. Stop in here if you are very low on health or ammo, but we are about to go through one of those Ghidorah eye doors, and that will drop a red X for us, so if you're not really hurt and you're not interested in filling in the entire map, you can probably skip that recharge. Over here, we'll be able to save the game, so record your progress just in case the nightmare gets the best of you. And then we're going to drop down here and head over to the right. We'll blast through those Zeelas and space jump over the other ones. And up here, well, there's that eye door. Blast it whenever it opens and is not doing the beam. And before we go after the boss, you can drop a power bomb, and we'll drop through here to get an energy tank. And this is it. It's time to fight the nightmare. Charge up your beam before the boss fully materializes and space jump into the upper right corner. That's going to force it to come to the top of the screen, and you can drop underneath it and shoot that charged shot followed by a few missiles to advance to this form of the fight. The boss is applying extreme gravity, so your missiles won't work. Instead, keep charging up your beam until that pod on the bottom is flashing, at which point you want to get onto the wall right here. Charge up one shot and then follow it up with a barrage of missiles and keep firing as the boss moves towards you. Now we want to try to manipulate the boss so that it's over here on the right side. Keep space jumping around it so that it comes back to this point, and when it stops moving quickly, grab back onto the wall and hit it with missiles again. If we blast it enough times, it will start flashing, and it will move towards the right side of the screen before the core X appears. This is one of the easier core X's. It doesn't shoot at you, nor does it close the eye, so you want to hit it with missiles when it's not flashing, and if you can just hit it with 6 missiles, it will crack open, and we'll be able to get our reward, the gravity suit. With the gravity suit, we will move through water as if it was air. Once the door opens, you want to make sure to get on the far right side of this room so that we can start up a speed boost. You need to be all the way over on the right side when you start so that you'll get through the wall. Now that we're already boosting though, we might as well run over here, tap down to charge up the SHINESPARK, open the door, and then launch Samus through. That's a very fast way to get through that area, although it's not totally necessary. Start another run in this room through the open door on the right. You'll bust through 2 walls, then tap down, walk back between the walls, hold up and press jump to SHINESPARK up to a power bomb. Now we can run to the right, and we'll charge up another speed boost which will break us through this wall, which leads into Sector 4. Sector 4 is the aquatic zone, and now that we have the gravity suit, we'll have more freedom to explore. Over here we'll have the chance to save the game, so we can record our progress, and then we'll head back out through the door and just drop down underneath the save room and head over to the right. This room is deceptively difficult. The enemies will quickly respawn if you don't collect the X parasites once they're defeated, so you want to hit these guys with missiles and then be standing right on top of them as they explode. We'll hop up here to get the missile tank, we'll collect another X parasite so that enemy won't have a chance to respawn, and then we'll just make our way safely back to the left. Directly across the way, we'll find another hidden tunnel, so just grab onto a ledge, and this one leads to a power bomb tank. Collect it, and then make your way to the bottom of this large shaft, where we'll head over to the left. In this area, if you drop a power bomb, it will clear some blocks over here, and then we'll need to use some missiles to get up through. A lot more of the room will be revealed now, and if we use another power bomb, we can grab this ledge where we'll find a power bomb tank. Adam definitely didn't authorize this, but we're making our way to the level 4 security room so that we'll be able to open all of the doors. Use a power bomb to clear out the floor in these rooms, and you want to take the right path here, hop up and go through the wall. Then we'll use another power bomb. Regular bombs will work, but the power bombs are better because they clear more of the blocks all at once. And when we drop down here, the security level 4 doors are now unlocked. Awesome. With the red doors open, there's a secret trick that we can do, but it is very difficult. We need to get back to a navigation room without collecting the next upgrade. It seems impossible if you look at the game map, but it's not if you know how to link together SHINESPARKs. You see, if you charge up a SHINESPARK and then release it into a sloped area, you will start running again and you can charge up another SHINESPARK. Watch as we release the SHINESPARK here. Samus starts running again, and at the end of the tunnel we tap down to charge the SHINESPARK once more. This is the most difficult room. You need to keep SHINESPARKing, and you can only do spin jumps so that you don't activate the SHINESPARK at the wrong time. You can also go into ball form and use power bombs to clear out these enemies, because if you hit an enemy, you will lose your SHINESPARK. So you need to make it here. And if you can get through that last vertical room, which is just insanely difficult, but it's possible, you can come up this way where we'll be able to get back to the Sector 4 navigation room. And when we get there, well, our computer friend is going to be very impressed. So just to recap how to do that, you need to charge up your SHINESPARK, and then when you launch it, if you hit a sloped surface, Samus will start running again, and you can tap down to charge up another SHINESPARK. That's the technique that you're going to be using there. You can also do spin jumps while you have a charged SHINESPARK. You won't release the SHINESPARK if you're spin jumping. And you can even turn into a ball. You won't release the SHINESPARK while you're in ball form. Just make sure that you release it fast enough or it will fade away. The cool thing about this secret message is that not only do we get praise from Adam, which Samus definitely likes, but we also get to have a little chat with the mysterious smoking man. He's very excited about our achievement, and as a reward, wants to fill us in on the plan. The plan? What's the plan? Is there a plan? No one told us about a plan. Unfortunately, Adam shuts it down and tells us to get back on task. Is your objective clear? No. No, the objective is not clear, Adam. What is going on? Now, if you thought all that SHINESPARKing looked impossible, there is an easier way. Work your way to this room, but don't go into the data room just yet. You're not supposed to be able to freeze those POW amps while they're not inflated, but if you space jump up into this corner while holding L and R, and then fire a missile while pressing left, Samus's leftward momentum will carry the missile into the right spot. And there it is in slow motion. Once you've frozen the POW amp while it's uninflated, you can simply roll on past. It might take several tries, but it's not that difficult to do. The funny thing is, whenever we go back to the navigation room now, Adam will give us the same secret message, and he will praise us for our ingenious use of the SHINESPARK, but we didn't actually use the SHINESPARK at all. Were you even watching, computer? With confirmation that the computer is plotting against us, we have no choice but to go back into Sector 4. Now that whole thing takes a good bit of time, so I'm going to reload a previous save, and we'll come back to when we open the red security doors. This time we'll morph into a ball and hop into a hidden tunnel. In this room we need to create a golden sizer enemy, so place a power bomb, but don't collect any of those X parasites. They'll reform into those 2 golden sizers, which we can destroy with our missiles. Now the door will open. A power bomb will swiftly clear out the ouch enemies here, and will also open the way to the energy tank. Take the upper path and roll across to get it, and then we'll head back to the left. We won't bother with the sizer enemies this time, turn into a ball to get underneath this ledge, and we will use a power bomb to clear out the enemies here, and then we'll reap the rewards. Now that the red doors are open, we're just going to make our way all the way across to the right. So keep going across here, and we haven't been in this next room yet. When we get in here, we're going to take out this first pirate, and then we're going to place a power bomb, which will open up the floor under this tunnel. Drop down here, use a missile to take out the pirates, grab that missile tank, and then freeze a Skullterra fish to use as a platform to get back up above. That's just a little bit easier than dealing with the enemies while space jumping. In here, angle your shots to attack the enemies, and then quickly jump up to this red door. It's time to head through. This area was previously inaccessible, and if we blast through these blocks at the bottom, we'll be able to work our way through to a save room. So we'll head in there where we can record our progress, and then we'll go back outside. There's an annoying balloon-like creature in this room called a POW amp. That's it right there, and when you get close to it, it'll inflate. Now if you shoot this one from far enough away with your ice missiles, you'll be able to freeze it so that it can't inflate, and then you can get past. You'll notice that you need to use the speed booster to break those blocks, so we'll start running in this direction. If you crouch down and charge up a SHINESPARK, then press L as you release it, you'll charge up at an angle and you'll be able to get that missile tank. You can go through the wall over there on the right, and that's probably the faster way to go, but I will show you the other, probably more obvious path. Run all the way across to the left and you'll break out the speed booster blocks, which will let you drop down, and we can go through this door. In this room, we just want to run all the way across and then tap down near the end, hold up and release the SHINESPARK. Up here, we'll be able to collect a power bomb tank. Go through this door, and in here we're going to space jump to the top of this chamber, and then we'll freeze a POW amp and use it as a platform. Shoot missiles up through the blocks above, grab the ledge, and head to the left. Whoa, that is a lot of ouch. Place a power bomb to wipe them all out, and then quickly hop across to the left. In this room, there are more POW amps that seem to be blocking our path, but if we head to the data room, we'll be able to download the Diffusion missiles. Now, whenever we hold down R, we'll charge up the Diffusion missiles, and when they get fired off, they'll explode in an icy wave whenever they hit something. That's how we'll be able to freeze the POW amps and get back over here to the left. It's possible to run right past that barrier before it even appears, but if you're not fast enough, you can shoot it with your missiles. The Diffusion missiles deal 5 more damage per shot than our old ice missiles did, so they deal 45 damage each. But surprisingly, charging up the missiles does not increase the base damage. The spinning snowflakes do deal 1 point of damage per hit, but that's the only additional damage the charge provides. If we use some power bombs, we can find a hidden power bomb tank down here. And once we collect that item, I believe that's everything to be found in Sector 4. So we'll head back across to the right, and we'll hop across where we'll find the way back to the navigation room. If you need a quick recharge, you can stop here, and you may want to save the game, so we'll quickly record our progress, and then we'll head back over to the navigation room, where Adam is not very happy that we opened the red doors. He's also surprised that we got the Diffusion missile upgrade because there was no word about it from HQ. HQ seemed to think it was important to send over the Diffusion missile data, and we had to open the red doors to get the download. Adam suggests that from now on we should use more discretion, and then moves on to telling us that the robot we faced earlier may have been infected by X-parasites. Yep, the parasites can infect robots now because it has an organic neural network. It seems to be doing something over in Sector 6, so we'll have to go check it out. We are getting very close to the end of the game now, and we knew a rematch with the box was inevitable, so our objective is clear. We need to head to Sector 6 quickly. Luckily, Sector 6 is right next to Sector 4, so we'll ride the elevator back up to the main deck, and then we'll head over to the right where we can open the door which leads to the elevator we were looking for. It's time to return to the Nocturnal Zone. At the bottom, we'll head over to the right where we can check in with Adam in the navigation room. And he is very worried because it seems that the security robot we fought earlier has gotten much stronger. But that's not the only thing. There's another problem. The SAX is tracking us. And I say, bring it on. Now that we have the ice missiles and the plasma beam and just so many energy tanks, if the SAX wants to mess around, it's gonna find out. Now that we have the power bombs and the ability to open all of the different colored doors, there are some parts of Sector 6 that were previously inaccessible, so that's where we're trying to head to. So just blast through these enemies with your plasma beam. We'll make short work of them now. Work your way to the right through some familiar rooms, and whenever you get to this vertical shaft, you'll notice there's a conspicuously gray room down here on the left, so that's where we need to go. There's a bunch of blue X inside, and we'll need to place a power bomb over here on the left. That will open the way to a red door, and we'll blast through it and drop down to the bottom where we'll be able to open this door, which will lead deeper into Sector 6. We'll fall through the floor there, but that's okay. We want to work our way over to the left. There's a mysterious area all the way down and to the left in this part of Sector 6 that has an extreme amount of security. Once you get close enough to the wall to trigger the warning voice, we're going to start heading back. Over here we can save the game. I like to save the game after triggering the warning because that's what causes the next boss to spawn. So we're going to space jump up here, head back over to the right, and just continue working your way back to the water-filled room. This is it. It's time to face the box again. Start by placing a power bomb to reveal the ladder at the top of the screen. We need to maneuver Samus around on the ladder so that she can shoot her missiles at an angle directly into the center of the top of the box. Once this thing fires some missiles at us, we want to clear all 4 of them with a plasma beam, and then we'll have an opportunity to attack back with missiles. Of course, the charged beam would deal more damage, but it's hard to charge up our beam because we have to clear out the missile attack first. So just stick to missiles. Once the brain is revealed, it will turn into a Core X, but at this point the water below becomes safe. It was electrified before. This thing has a nasty beam attack, so whenever the eye opens on the side of it, blast it with your missiles, but get ready to jump over the counterattack. That boss can be tricky, so you may need to practice a bit to get a feel for how far away you need to be so that Samus can angle those missiles into the right spot. Before we head back, use the wave beam over here on the right to open a gate so we can grab a missile tank. And we'll need to do that over at the high security area that triggered this warning. So that's where we're going to go after getting those missiles. It's nice that the wave beam can shoot through walls, but the only increase in damage is that the flare on the charged beam now deals 15. And if we head over here through the security gate, we'll find the restricted zone. Make sure to save here. There's going to be a timed challenge ahead, and if you mess it up, you will get a game over. So it's good to cover yourself by saving. And over here in the restricted laboratory, we see what the enhanced security was all about. The scientists here have been cultivating Metroids. And not just the garden variety Metroids either. They've been making the mutated ones from Metroid 2. So that's why the SAX wanted to get in here so badly. These Metroids are a threat to its very existence. As the Metroids attack the SAX, we only have 1 minute to escape. Space jump up to the red door while trying to avoid the smaller Metroids. If you make it in time, you'll see this movie. And if you don't make it in time, you'll see the same cutscene, but it'll end with a game over. Up here, we'll find another navigation room, and Adam says, "Samus, you shouldn't have done that." I'm getting a very 2001 vibe from this computer. He says that we may have to pay a price. Pay a price for what? The SAX destroyed your Metroid breeding lab. That wasn't me. Although if I had known about the lab, I would have destroyed it myself. The computer has the audacity to say that those Metroids were for peaceful applications only. Yeah, right. How stupid do you think we are? And now that you mention it, it did seem strange that someone would build a faithful replica of the SR-388 ecosystem here on a space station. But yeah, it would be ideal for raising Metroids. Even Omega Metroids. A single Omega Metroid can cause insane amounts of devastation. And if you can raise them from a larva in just days. Oh no. But that's not the worst part. It seems that the SAX that's been chasing us is just one of many. But Adam's right when he says that we shouldn't be surprised. We did know that the X parasites reproduced asexually, and throughout the entire game, they've been doing so at a rapid pace. So as of now, there are no fewer than 10 SAX aboard this station. Yeah, let that sink in. Luckily, we won't have to face all of them at once, but we do need to get out of here. The restricted zone is technically on the main deck map, but the only elevator near to this area is going to take us to a previously unexplored part of Sector 1, so we'll have to go through there to escape. As we exit the navigation room and ride the elevator up, once again we get to see Samus's thoughts. Despite it sounding convincingly like the real Adam, were we a fool to trust this computer? We should have known they were breeding Metroids here. We can't get away from Metroids. and as the elevator reaches the top of the shaft, we enter back into Sector 1. Our diffusion missiles can reveal a hidden energy tank here, so charge one up and launch it against the right wall, and not only will that open up the way to the tank, but it'll freeze the rippers in that area, making it easier to get down to the bottom. Freeze any remaining rippers that get in your way and head through the door. Over here, just space jump across this room, and in the next room, you want to shoot down through the floor and drop in. Charge up the wave beam and take out this enemy, but don't collect the X-Parasite. Let it transform into another enemy, and that enemy will turn into a gold pirate. To clear the gold pirate, you need to charge up your beam, shoot at the pirate, and then turn back to the left so that you're facing the same direction before the beam hits. If you clear the pirate, it'll open the door leading to a power bomb. Save your game and then head back out to the left. We're going to go to the top of this room and we'll use a bomb on the right wall. That will open up a new ladder. At the top there's a pirate waiting for us, so charge up your beam and blast him. And in this next room we need to open up the wall with a power bomb, but we also need to clear the Genesis enemies below without collecting the X-Parasites to make a gold pirate spawn. Remember, you want to charge up your beam, shoot at the pirate, and turn around so that the pirate will be affected by the beam. I think the game developers wanted you to have to shoot that gold pirate in the back, but as a programming workaround, they made it so that the pirate would only take damage if you were facing the same direction that it is facing, and that's how it works. This room's a dead end. You can blast the Genesis enemies to make a gold pirate appear, but it doesn't go anywhere. So you'd only want to do that if you really needed to farm for health or items. In this room, fire a charged up diffusion missile at the rippers, and that should freeze them so that they won't get in your way. Then charge up your beam and hit the Ghidorah whenever the eye is open. It's time to face the next boss, Ridley. As the battle begins, angle your beam downward, charge it up, and as soon as Ridley materializes, jump up in the air and shoot him downward at an angle to get the maximum damage out of your beam. You want to charge up your beam and fire at Ridley with a fully charged blast, and you can work in a missile between shots, but the beam is what's going to deal the most damage. Even if you get grabbed by Ridley, you can still charge up the beam and keep on shooting him. You might think that spamming missiles against this guy would be faster, but it's not. Use the charged up shots of the beam, because as the beam penetrates the boss, it keeps dealing damage on every frame, and that really adds up. When the Core X is revealed, you'll be relieved to find out that it is just a basic Core X, and you'll need to hit it with 6 missiles to open it up. You don't need to charge the missiles against the Core X, but I've noticed that once the missiles become fully charged, that's usually when the Core X becomes vulnerable to hit again, so you can kind of time it up that way. Our reward is the Screw Attack, and this is the last major upgrade that we'll receive in the game. The Screw Attack is extremely powerful and can destroy some enemies that we were unable to clear out before. The only thing you need to do to activate it is perform a spin jump. The Screw Attack can also remove a certain type of block that we were unable to clear before, so now that we have it, it's time to begin the end game cleanup. Down here, we'll want to charge up our diffusion missiles to quickly blast a hole in this wall, and then we'll head across to the right. Now that we're in the end game cleanup phase, we don't want to go back to any of the navigation rooms, or the computer will try to funnel us on to the final battle. What we need to do is find alternate ways to get back into the other sectors so that we can get the remaining items. That's the only way that we'll be able to get 100%. Don't forget that in order to get the game's best ending, we not only need to collect all of the missile, energy, and power bomb tanks, but we need to do it in under 2 hours of game time. You can waste a lot of time backtracking during this part of the game, but as long as you follow along with the video, you should be able to make it in time. Starting here in Sector 1, we're going to begin gathering all of the hidden items that we haven't collected yet, and to get some of the ones here, we're going to need to do some tricky stuff using the SHINESPARK. Place a power bomb down at the bottom here, and those blocks will not respawn. Go all the way over to the left to the save room, and it's probably a good idea to record your progress, just in case we make some mistakes trying to do this SHINESPARK trick. But start all the way on the left side, run across to the right, and when we get to the end here, tap down, do a spin jump so that you screw attack through that enemy, and when you get to the bottom, you're going to hold up and press jump so that you SHINESPARK straight up to where the power bomb tank is. But that's not the only item to be found here. So let's go back to the save room so that we can charge up a speed boost again. Once again, we're going to start on the far left side, but this time we're going to start our SHINESPARK earlier. So charge it up in this room, spin jump up to this door, open the door, tap jump and hold left. You'll start running when you hit the slope, so you'll be able to charge up another SHINESPARK, and then when you get to the end, you'll hold up and press jump to fly up to where the energy tank is. That one's tricky. Once you have those two, the remaining items in Sector 1 are much easier to obtain. Head over here and we'll be able to open this gate, which will lead us to a more familiar area. At the top of this room on the right, we'll find a save room that we've visited before, and the last time we were here, we didn't go into the room on the right, but this time we will. Using the space jump, we can easily collect the missile tank up at the top. You can get this one earlier in the game by doing wall jumps to the top of the shaft, but even if you're a wall jump expert, and it's kind of difficult to get to the top there, it still takes longer than it would by using the space jump, so it just makes sense to come back and get that one later in the game. Charging up a SHINESPARK here will save us some time. Press down to hold the charge right before going through the door. Open the door on the left, tap jump, and then press right when you see the animation begin. And you'll fly over here to this missile tank, and then you'll be able to grab this ledge and you'll get another missile tank. Then go back down into the lava, which is safe. Roll into a ball and you'll be able to collect this missile tank. So that's 3 missile tanks right there. In here, we'll use the screw attack to bust out of the water, and when we pass through this blue door, we'll be back to the first room of Sector 1. But we're not done in here just yet. If we go through this green door and screw attack through the ceiling, we'll find a hidden power bomb tank. This next part is optional, and I'm only doing it so that we can complete the entire map. But you'll see that there's a passage between sectors 1 and 2 up here. We've been to this room before and there was a missile tank upgrade right there, but we've already collected it. So we're going to head back to Sector 1 because we want to go from Sector 1 to Sector 3. So there's another sector that we're connected to. To get to Sector 3, head back down through the blue door and you'll find a hidden passage in the left wall. We'll need to use the screw attack to get to the door, and we can pause to take a look at the completed map of Sector 1. We won't be coming back here. Make sure to get a running start as you enter Sector 3, and if you're all charged up with your speed boost, you can jump and keep space jumping, and that will maintain your boost. This will allow you to break through the wall on the left side so you can get the missile tank upgrade. Down here, we'll just complete a bit more of the map, and then we're going to head back to the left. Get a running start through this room, so we'll go back here, run to the left, make sure the door is open, charge up a SHINESPARK right before you go through the door, and then blast through the wall here on the left. We've been here before, but this time we'll place a power bomb and we'll find a hidden power bomb tank over here. We can drop through the ground, and that will take us back to this large room. We've been through here several times, so head back into this room where we can easily open the gate now that we have the wave beam, and then we'll just run across and we'll break through the floor. This time though, we'll use a power bomb, and that will open a hidden path up this way. Note that you won't be able to hold onto a ledge while the power bomb is exploding, so you will need to wait for that animation to finish. Take care of that Foon enemy with your screw attack, grab the power bomb tank, and head back over here to the right. Use the screw attack to safely drop down to the bottom of this shaft, and over here on the right we'll find the first of several items, a missile tank. We can use our power bombs to clear out the ouch enemies and to open up the wall, and we'll go through this door just so that we can open up the entire map, and we'll drop down here to the bottom. Run over to the right and use your screw attack on that wall, but before you go over there, space jump up here and grab this energy tank. Then roll over to the left where we'll find a missile tank. We could have gotten these two items earlier in the game, but it's easier to get them now. Run over to the right to charge up your speed boost, and over here, tap down to charge up a SHINESPARK, then hold up and press jump so that you blast all the way to the top of this chamber. Then drop down a little bit, screw attack up through the ceiling, and grab another power bomb tank. Once you have both of those, drop back down to the bottom. We've collected all of the items over in this corner, but there is still more to be found in Sector 3. Smash through that wall using your screw attack, head back through to the left, and continue to work your way across to the left. We charged up our speed boost, but we didn't really need it there. We'll just continue to cross over to the left. If we did have our SHINESPARK going here, we could fly across, but I wanted to make sure that we were able to open up all of those map squares. In this room, we can place a power bomb down here in the lava to find another hidden path. This is a little bit of a maze. You want to head over to the far right first, and then you can drop down to the bottom. Roll all the way across, and then work your way up to the top. Hop over to the right, and we'll find another power bomb tank. Then we can climb up out of here. So that's almost everything here in Sector 3. We're just going to work our way back to that tall vertical shaft where we'll be able to climb our way out of here. We do need to climb up to the top. It'll be much easier considering that we have the screw attack, so we'll just go right through those enemies. And you can use the ladder if you want to, but I think the space jump is just a little bit better because it will allow us to defeat those Foons. And in this room we know that we need to bomb the wall, although we can take the lower path this time, which is a little bit faster. Drop over here and head to the left, and we'll just go right through that gate. And in this room we're going to run to the left so that we can get through this wall. There's one more hidden item down here. This is one we could have got earlier in the game, but it's a little bit tricky to jump that high at that point in the game, so it's probably easier to get this one now. We will need to run back over to the right so that we can get through the speed boost barrier again, but that's still not the last item in Sector 3. Work your way across the lava here to the left. You don't need to use the ladder on the ceiling, which is slower. We can very quickly just run through the lava. And over here we'll grab this missile tank, but then we're going to use a power bomb to open up the wall on the left. We need to get a running start again, charge up a SHINESPARK, and blast up through. Now we can use the space jump to get this energy tank. If we had come here earlier in the game, we would have had to have gone through all of this on the right side, but we don't have to do that because we just have the space jump now. We're going to use the screw attack on the ground here to open up another hidden path, and over in this room we'll find the very last item in Sector 3. Use a power bomb to reveal a hidden power bomb tank, and there's the completed Sector 3 map. Now we'll run over here to the left into Sector 5, and we already have almost all of the items here in Sector 5, but if we use a power bomb in this room, we'll be able to open this gate, and we can take out some of these pirates. But now that we have power bombs and wall penetrating beams, it's very easy to get the power bomb tank up here. So that's why we left that one until later in the game. We'll use a power bomb to quickly pass through those bomb blocks, and then we'll head down here. There really is nothing else to find here in Sector 5, so we're just passing through. Go down here to this series of yellow doors and work your way all the way to the left. And that's where we're going to find the hidden passage that we can use our screw attack to open up. And here is the completed map of Sector 5. Sector 6 has some of the most difficult remaining items to collect. We're going to drop down and head to the left into this room, which we've been to before, but now that we have the screw attack, we can clear out those blocks in the middle, and now we have an open runway. Make sure the door on the left is open, run to the right, charge the SHINESPARK, and then SHINESPARK back to the left. You'll fly all the way through this room, and we'll fly over that power bomb, but if we run back this way, charge up the SHINESPARK, drop down and fire it off to the left, we'll be able to get this one. Then there's still another hidden power bomb in here, and this one's trickier. Run across the bottom to the right, charge the SHINESPARK, spin jump up here, and then once you get onto that slope, you need to jump and do 3 space jumps while you're boosted to get up to where the power bomb is. Yep, that one's not super easy, and it could take a little bit of practice. Now, there's still a few more things to find here in Sector 6, but before we get them, we need to actually go back into the restricted zone where there is one hidden item for us to find. So that's where we're going now. We can stop over here to save the game. Probably should do that. We've been moving pretty quickly through these last few items. And then we're going to continue back down and to the left. So shoot through the floor, blast through the door, and just run across to the left. We'll open up the gate, morph into a ball, and here's that restricted zone. I recommend saving the game down here if you're not confident you can do this next move, but you want to run into this room, charge the SHINESPARK, stand by this post, and hold L as you release the SHINESPARK. Then quickly jump up here and space jump to the power bomb tank. Do not charge your SHINESPARK and then blast straight up through those boost blocks. You'll get stuck in the upper area, and it will be a massive backtrack to get the remaining items. You don't want to do it. Holding L as you release the SHINESPARK makes doing that diagonal SHINESPARK actually quite easy, and that's all you need to do to make sure that you don't get stuck in the restricted zone. Once you have that item, head back over here, and we want to make our way towards the room where we fought the box for the second time. Over to the right of the boss room is an area where we found a missile tank, but if we use our screw attack on the ceiling, we can find another hidden item, and this one's tricky to get. Use a bomb to open up this path, hop down onto those blocks, and then quickly try to hop up here. Sometimes the timing can make that difficult, so if you don't make it on your first try, just hop back up and keep doing it again and again until you get it. If it takes too many tries, you can always just reload your last save. It's also possible to freeze one of those ouch enemies in just the right spot so you can use it as a platform, but that's harder to do than you may think. In this room, clear out the screw attack blocks and then run across to the right. In here, charge your SHINESPARK and then blast through the wall on the right side. We need to place bombs in just the right spots in this room. Place a bomb in the middle of the 3 large platforms and place a bomb on each of the 2 edges of the smaller platform. If you do it correctly, you'll be able to create this runway, But if you mess it up, a barrier will appear in the middle of the room and you'll have to exit the room and come back. Now don't forget to run to the left as you exit this room because we need to SHINESPARK back through this wall. If you forget to do that, you'll have to go back into that last room and place the bombs all over again. So make sure that you SHINESPARK through that wall. And thankfully, that was the last item in Sector 6. Screw attack through the wall there to save yourself a bit of time, and then we're going to screw attack down through this wall, which will take us to a passage that leads on to Sector 4. And there's the completed Sector 6 map. Now we already have all of the items in Sector 4, so we're just going to be passing through here. Use your missiles to go down through the floor in this area and drop to the bottom of this watery shaft. We'll use the screw attack on the floor to get down to this door, and we can take a look now at the completed Sector 4 map. From here, we'll head into Sector 2. Sector 2 is the last one we need to visit on our endgame cleanup, and the first thing we want to do is to enter the blue security room, and we'll use our screw attack to blast through the upper left wall. Over here, we'll find an interesting room. This is a space jump challenge. You want to try to space jump through here without touching the ground at all. If you do, quickly try to jump out of it. In the upper left corner, we'll snag the last energy tank, and then if we can carefully space jump down here, we'll get another power bomb tank. Then we can just drop to the bottom. We'll SHINESPARK up to the top here. It's not necessary, but we should start practicing our SHINESPARKs. We're going to need to be good at them here. Our new screw attack will obliterate these key hunter enemies, but honestly, so will our current beam weapon, so use whatever you want. In this room, we're going to drop down to the bottom, and then we're going to head through this tunnel at the top. And there's what the beam does to the key hunters. It just blasts through them like they're nothing. We'll drop down here, and when we get to the bottom of this shaft, we're going to take this door on the left. We need to work our way back to the room where we fought Zazabi. So we'll use a power bomb to open up the floor, and then we'll cut through this save room. And over here, we'll open up the door on the right, and this is what we were looking for. Drop down and head over here, and we're going to space jump to the upper right corner. Use the screw attack to break through the wall, and then head through the door into this room, where we'll get 2 upgrades, but it'll take some fancy SHINESPARKing to grab them. Head all the way over to the right, then run back to the left, crouch to charge the SHINESPARK, do a spin jump, and when you're at the right height, tap up to break out of the spin jump, then press the jump button again, and as soon as you see the animation again, press right to SHINESPARK to that missile tank. Over here, we need to keep SHINESPARKing onto these sloped areas, so make sure you do a spin jump to get up to the higher level, then release the SHINESPARK, run across, spin jump up, SHINESPARK, crouch, jump, SHINESPARK, and that will bring us to the power bomb tank. You'll need to do that perfectly, or you'll have to start over again from the bottom. Believe it or not, those were the last 2 items in Sector 2, and now there's only one more hidden upgrade in the entire game, and it's on the main deck. Head over here where we can save our progress, and the beauty of using this route is that we'll be able to exit Sector 2 through the reactor, and that's going to put us right near where we need to be. So climb up here and head over to the right. We'll head down here and continue across to the right, and we're going to head back towards the area where we escaped the SAX earlier. Blast these gates out of the way or roll underneath them, and in here we'll use a bomb to blow up the wall, and we'll be able to continue across to the right. Now we just need to use our space jump to get up here, and we'll transform into a ball as we roll back to the main deck. You can see that the reactor is back online, and we just want to space jump to the upper left corner of that room. This area is very close to the docking bay, so we're going to climb up here, we'll roll underneath, shoot up through the ceiling, and we'll take this red door that we were unable to use previously. We'll continue to space jump up to the top here. You can go right through those platforms, and then we'll head to the left over to this area. Climb to the top of this room, it'll take a few hops, and over on the right side we can screw attack through this barrier, and we'll find the final item in the game. Morph into a ball, hop up, and roll around to find item number 100. That's a secure 100% completion. Now we just need to come down here and go to the right. In this room over here, we can save the game one last time, and then we're going to head over to the right. There's a recharge room along the way if you need it. We are going to be facing the SAX very soon, so you will want to have full health and ammo for that. So charge up in here, and then we're going to climb up to the navigation room directly above. We'll screw attack through that enemy and open the door, and it's time to have another conversation with Adam. Adam wants us to evacuate the station, but the X-parasites are just too dangerous. We cannot leave them behind. We need to destroy this place. But as you may suspect, if the Federation was interested in breeding Metroids, well, they're even more interested in the X-parasites. What does it say about humanity that these people can look at a horrible monster like a Metroid or the X, and all they can see is its application in the galactic arms race? The Federation is coming to the station, but they don't know what they're walking into. The X-parasites will annihilate them. Their bodies will be taken over, and then who knows what the X will do next. They won't stand a chance here. And if you're wondering what would be worth such a risk, well, the Federation's ultimate prize would be capturing the SAX. I definitely agree with Samus. These people are totally nuts. Adam says it will certainly be difficult, and they don't expect our help? Oh, they're not going to get our help. In fact, we're going to do our best to make sure that they don't succeed. It seems that HQ had developed the downloads that we needed to destroy the SAX much earlier, but they were intentionally withheld to prevent us from doing just that. If we hadn't absorbed some of those abilities from core X monsters that we fought, then we may not have been powerful enough to survive this long. With a hint of sarcasm, Adam says, "Bravo, Samus." Bravo? We must cancel the mission. Open up a channel to HQ. We're not going to let this happen. Not on my watch. As soon as the Federation ships land, the X will overwhelm them and absorb the knowledge and power of their occupants. The X are just waiting for the hunt to begin, and then they'll spread across the universe. Galactic civilization will end. The X hunger for form, knowledge, and power, but they cannot copy the soul. They're single-minded, instinctively seeking to increase in number. They're a plague, and the Federation underestimates their threat. This station has a self-destruct mechanism. I must use it to destroy the X here and on the planet. I'll send them to oblivion. Them, the station, and myself if I have to. But now Adam won't open the doors, trapping us inside the navigation room. Open the hatch, computer! But it seems that he's been ordered to confine us until the ships arrive. No, don't let them do this. Can't you see what will happen, Adam? But strangely, calling the computer Adam seemed to have struck a chord. After explaining that Adam was an old friend, the computer seems to warm up a bit. He asks, what would this friend want you to do now? Although it's hard to say for sure that Samus knew Adam well enough to know exactly how he would handle this situation, she felt strongly deep within her heart that he would never let the Federation take the SAX to be used as a weapon. Samus says he would understand that some must live and some must die. He knew what it meant. And that's when she reveals that Adam is no longer with us because he sacrificed himself to save her. But Computer Adam pushes back in a way that is more than a little bit insensitive. Your Adam gave his life so that you could keep yours? For the sake of the universe? He even calls Adam's sacrifice foolish. Wow. Just when it seemed like the computer was coming around to our side. But Computer Adam was just trying to tell us that detonating this station in high orbit wouldn't be enough to destroy all of the X parasites. We also need to destroy the ones down on the planet. And Computer Adam is right. Making the ultimate sacrifice just to destroy the parasites on this space station isn't enough. The Federation will still find more X-parasites down on the planet, and then it will be only a matter of time before they use them as a weapon. Saying that Adam probably shouldn't have saved Samus was more than a little bit unnecessary, but the computer does have a good plan. If we could include the planet in the vaporation field of the self-destructing station, we would be able to wipe out all of the X. We would need to start the propulsion sequence now, before the Federation arrives. This could be our last mission. We need to head to the operation room to adjust the station's orbit path. If we can get there quickly enough, there may be enough time for us to return to our ship and escape with our life. We need to stay alive, because that's an order. And then he says, "Any objections, lady?" Is this guy really Adam? What's going on here? How would he know that intimate detail? Well, in any case, head up to the elevator and ride it up to the top. Before we can set this space station on a crash course with the planet below, we'll need to get past one more obstacle. The SAX. Make your way up towards the top door and the SAX will enter the room. You can freeze the SAX using your ice missiles, but to actually damage this monster, you need to charge up your wave beam and use it. Shoot it with the wave beam, jump over it, and then start running a little bit to the left or the right. The SAX will follow you and you can turn around and hit it with the charged beam. Then repeat the process. So jump over, turn back and shoot, jump over, turn back and shoot, run to the right, turn back to the left, run to the left, turn back to the right, and just keep following this pattern, and eventually the SAX will change into this form. As soon as it takes shape, you want to hit it with an angled charge beam blast, and it will only take a few of those to finish the second form. And finally, we have to face the last Core X. This Core X is very dangerous, and its beam weapon is quite damaging. You can only hit it when the eye opens, so shoot it with a missile, and then quickly try to jump over the counterattack. It will take 6 missiles to destroy it. Then jump over towards the X, but you won't be able to get a power-up right now. It'll fly away, and we'll finally be able to open the door to the operations room. Step up to the computer to start the self-destruct sequence. We only have 3 minutes to get out. There's one more map square up here that we haven't covered, and that's it. We've now covered the entire map. And we will need to go down the elevator. It takes a little bit of time, but we should have plenty of time to escape. When you get back down to the main part of the main deck, you want to start heading left and down. Keep heading left and down until you've passed through the save room. So that's what I'm looking for. Just keep working your way to the left, and here's the save room. So after going through the save room, we're going to start heading down and right. So this time we're going to be going to the right, and by heading down and right from here, that's going to take us all the way to the docking bay. So you want to go as quickly as possible because we do have to do one more boss fight before we can get out of here, and we'll want to make sure we have enough time for that. When you get to the docking bay, run over to the right and then back to the left, and it's an Omega Metroid! Let the Omega Metroid hit you. Our energy is reduced to 1, but before the Omega Metroid can finish us off, the SAX returns. It can only hold the Omega back for a few moments before it too gets destroyed, but it's just enough time for us to regain control of Samus. And whenever we fuse with the SAX, we get all of our health back. Now quickly position Samus so that her back leg is on that dark spot on the ground, hold up and just start blasting. If you do it correctly, you'll be able to destroy the Omega Metroid in no time. Now if you don't get it just right, you'll want to angle your shots up into the Omega Metroid's chest, and if you do get hit by one of its swipe attacks, rapidly tap right and left to get out of it. And that's it! We've done it! We've beaten Metroid Fusion! All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. That perfect military mind. The wisdom of Adam Malkovich continued to serve even after death. Until today, I had no idea that the minds of leaders and scientists were frequently uploaded to computers. My incredible reunion with Adam may have saved the universe. But how will the beings of the universe view our resolve? I doubt they will understand what we did, the danger we barely averted. They will hold tribunals and investigations. They will hold us responsible. Adam understood this, and he spoke to me in my anger. Do not worry. One of them will understand. One of them must. I have reflected upon his words, and I see the wisdom in them. We are all bound by our experiences. They are the limits of our consciousness. But in the end, the human soul will ever reach for the truth. That is what Adam taught me. Just one detail still bothers me. The ship can only be started manually, yet before I faced the Omega Metroid, the ship moved on its own, guided by someone's hands. Is it possible? Adam? But when I asked Adam about it, he just laughed. Lady, what's troubling you? You wonder how I started the ship? Just think about it. They lent me a hand. Of course, when he said they, he meant our friends the Etakuns and Dechoras, who were now huddled together in a corner of the ship, sleeping peacefully. Roll the credits. Metroid Fusion is a solid entry in the Metroid franchise, and one that really grew on me as I played it more and more times. No, I don't think that it's better than Super Metroid, but that's a ridiculously high bar for any game to clear, especially one designed for a portable system. And that's something they did so much better this time around. The portable experience is greatly improved. If you've ever played Metroid 2: The Return of Samus on the original monochromatic Game Boy, if you take a long break from that game and then try to pick it up again, it's very difficult to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. You could literally stop playing this game for years, start up an old save file, check in at a navigation room, and you'll be right back to playing the game. All that being said, I think allowing the player to have a little bit more flexibility and permitting some sequence breaking would not have been greatly detrimental to the game. Also, while there are a few new weapons like the chargeable diffusion missiles, most of the upgrades that you find in this game are cut and pasted from Super Metroid, so it would have been nice if they made a few more new things. I think a lot of that energy went into making the story, and as far as video game stories for action games go, this one is pretty good. I do wish it was a little bit easier to skip through some of the story sequences when playing through the game for a second time, but that's really just a minor nitpick. Alright, it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see which ending we got and what our final clear time was. So there are 5 possible endings, and to get what the game considers the best ending, we need to have found all 100 tank upgrades, and we need to have done it in under 2 hours of game time. And our final time was 1 hour and 39 minutes, which is very good, and there's that 100%. Now, of course, this is You Can Beat Video Games, so we're going to be taking a look at all 5 of the different endings. The second one that we're going to look at is if you get 100% items, but you do it in over 2 hours. And honestly, this ending is not that much worse, and until I watched them side by side, they look very similar. You'll notice right away that only Samus's head is revealed in the first part of the ending, and if you're over 2 hours but got 100%, this is the ending that you'll see. You'll notice that it is very similar, but definitely not the same. Now the other 3 endings are if you got less than 100% item collection. It doesn't matter if you got 99%, that is not good enough. And you'll see here, this is the ending if you got less than 100%, but you managed to finish the game in under 2 hours. And this is another similar looking ending, but once again, not the same. Honestly, I don't think anything about this ending is terribly disappointing, other than having to see 99% when you know you should be able to get 100. Now to get the 4th ending, you'll need to complete the game with less than 100% item collection, but you'll have a time between 2 and 4 hours. And you'll see that because our time is between 2 and 4 hours, Samus's head is revealed there. And this ending is a good bit different because she has most of the power suit still on and only the helmet has been removed. So that's for a time between 2 and 4 hours. And to get what the game considers the worst ending, you'll need to get less than 100% item collection with a time of over 4 hours. And you'll know that you have a time of over 4 hours because there's no transformation here in this first scene. And this is the final ending. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Metroid Fusion, averting an X-Parasite related disaster for the universe. If it did, make sure to give it a like, and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because there will always be more terrifying monsters that people will want to use as bioweapons, and that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.